live.
Whoa.
I think. Welcome once again to DIGIBRO versus everybody! The only show where you get to listen to me argue with people over a persistent soundtrack of Sonic music because of the fact that there's been this Sonic event going on in this game for fucking the entire time we've been doing this. Incidentally, just to explain some stuff about this live stream off the top, since for the most part there hasn't been a whole lot of explanation other than just what it is. First of all, if you're gonna be in the Discord call, be prepared to get called on. I understand that the stream only outputs in 1080p. That's because I am not a Twitch affiliate yet, and once I am, I can control, or rather you get to control everything. I'm making sure I'm live.
Yeah, you're live.
Yeah, okay. So are you in the game yet?
I am just got in.
Alright, let's meet up in front of the gate then and join a party together. Anyways, yeah, once I'm an affiliate, apparently that'll happen. That's why we're doing these live streams so frequently. I don't know if it will always be twice a week. We have to do like 8 of them in 30 days to become an affiliate and like meet all these other requirements. But I mean, the show has been fun so far. The last episode, too many people called in who were too agreeable. So I tried to put out a sort of hit piece video just now, encouraging people. Where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Oh.
I see you.
Encouraging people to like get really angry. Okay, everything's in Japanese now. We had to update the game before we started, and
yeah.
Thankfully I remembered where the party button was. Wait, it didn't. Oh, okay, there you go. You had to accept. All right. Yeah, so it might not always be like twice a week, but for now we're just doing that so that we can, you know, level up our stream abilities. I think we need to get a quest.
Yeah.
Additionally, yeah, I tried to like reduce the quality of the stream, but the fucking thing was being really finicky. The streaming thing I use.
Are you getting any lag in the game?
Am I getting what?
Lag in the game.
Not really.
I'm getting a little bit. It might just be because I have a ton of shit operating right now.
Yeah, you should probably, like, anything that's not mandatory to the...
All I have open is the game and the Twitch stream.
Alright, anyways, was there something else I wanted to explain? Just basically that if you're going to be in the call, you should expect to get called on, because there were a lot of people last time who were unprepared.
Yeah, if you have to step away for a second, just leave the chat.
Huh?
If you have to step away from your computer for a second, just leave the chat so you don't get called on.
Oh, yeah. Don't be... Leave
if you're
the call.
gonna be in the bathroom, just, like, you know, get out.
Alright, what the hell quest should we do? Because they're all fucking... out of our level range, it seems like. Well, we'll just take this one, because whatever. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna start arguing with people now. If anyone in the chat knows, like, anyone they particularly want me to argue, who's in the call, go ahead and suggest it. Get No Name in there. Alright, I don't know who No Name is, but that's the first request we've got. So May's gonna go ahead and take care of that. Oh, by the way, this is another thing I wanted to explain. Which is simply that the chat ultimately is meant to be the arbiter of whether or not people get kicked, or it's sort of it's like a 2-check system. It's like if the chat is saying next and also I want them to go, or we want them to go, is when they go. But like the reason I wanted it to be the chat is that I don't want to have the power to end arguments myself, because I want people to tell me, you know, when they think it's over, rather than me deciding that. Anyways, did you already add a...
Well, he disappeared, and it is Mr. Cynical, BT Dubs, but he is not in here right now, so...
I don't know who Mr. Cynical is.
Oh, well.
I've heard the name. I think he might be a commenter.
Let's go with...
go ahead.
Dark Pygmy.
Dark Pygmy?
Yeah.
Alright. Let's bring him in.
Hello.
Dark Pygmy, you there? I don't hear anything. Do you hear anything?
I do not hear.
Hello? Dark Pygmy? You there? Well,
Alright.
Go ahead and bring in the next guy, I guess. Dark Pygmy was not there.
I'm gonna go with Happy Child.
Please be at your mic if you joined the call.
Hello, Happy Child.
Hello?
Hello, someone who's there. What's going on, Happy Child? What you want to argue about?
I would argue that stopping someone physically from killing themselves is morally wrong.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
what is it? Why? How? Only physically? Like...
Calling the ambulance is included, but that's an extended argument.
Okay, give me your logic, please.
A human should have the choice if he wants to kill himself, because... fuck, I'm a little bit anxious.
I feel you, I see what you're saying.
Essentially,
this is a hard...
you should not overrule the choice if someone wants to continue his life, because he's the best at assessing if it is worth living. Is the just of it.
That's... Oh, I don't know. I do not know how I feel about that, because, like, it makes me uncomfortable to even suggest that that would be... I mean...
Yeah, that's why that's why I brought it up, because you probably disagree with me.
I feel as though, the circumstances are important here. Like, if someone's about to kill themselves in a public place, would you agree they should be stopped?
You maybe should pull them aside so they can kill themselves in private, but not actually stopping them.
Okay, here's what I think.
But not because they kill themselves, but because they're actually annoying people around them.
I have a better resolution to this for you, which is that there should be a legal method of suicide. Like, I think that most of the time, if someone's getting physically stopped committing suicide, or, you know, trying to kill themselves, it's because someone else is around. And, like, I don't necessarily think that it is a good thing to happen to have someone kill themselves in the middle of public. Like, if someone jumps off a bridge or jumps in front of a train, that's a huge problem for a lot of people, you know?
Yes, but that's not because they're killing themselves, that's because they're being a nuisance.
So I think that, you know, if you're saying that... If you're just saying that there should be a way that people can kill themselves, like, you know, without it being... Oh, I don't know, though, because I don't want to, like, normalize suicide either by, like, making it legal.
That's why I am against the state, like, institutionalizing suicide.
Okay.
Also because suicide is probably the most personal thing I can imagine.
So your argument's not that it should be, like, your argument is just, like, if you stop somebody, then you are in the wrong, is all you mean to say.
Yes. So I probably would still stop my friends from killing themselves because I prefer my friends alive, but I'm not moral.
Yeah, I'm not moral either. I feel as though I can agree with you only on the basis that I am not... I don't know. It's hard to determine what is or isn't moral in the situation, because it's possible you're going to save them and they will be thankful in the long run, as is often the case, but...
yes, but in that moment when you stop someone, you're saying my...
Alright, this guy's getting
how their
nexted.
life's gonna be turned out.
The chat is not happy.
Well, you know what? I think you had an interesting point. So I'm glad you brought that up as a subject. Yeah, I think we kind of...
The point that you should bring up against that is probably that I thought of is people kill themselves because of depression and disease. That's the thought I had against it that I don't want to bring up because it's an argument against me.
Yeah, I think that those are curable things, and like it's a again, I don't want to like encourage anyone to kill themselves. I do agree that by stopping somebody from killing themselves, you are exerting your will on them. It's
but
just
Chet
that
said I should leave, so I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Is that correct?
No, you're okay. I'm not trying to like be mean.
No,
I'm just
because
letting
I thought
you know what's going on.
Just because Chat said so, and
no, I don't always, like I said, it's a two-check system. Chat has to what you got, and because the chat will say next immediately just because they want to be on the show. So like some people are just gonna next you. I think you're making an interesting point, but yeah, I don't know if I would.
I think the point has been made.
Yeah, I don't think I would go so far as to say it's immoral, but I see what you're saying. All right, bring in the next one.
So yeah, bye.
Bye.
All right. Anybody recommended by the chat or anything?
Let's see.
I've never. That was a. He put me in an interesting spot when I had to like imagine myself like, you know, stopping someone from committing suicide and try to ask myself a way that could be a bad thing.
Yeah. All right, let's get Nico.
But I do know suicidal. Like I know a lot of people who feel that way. You know, Hunter Thompson killed himself because he said. Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? What?
Hey man, what's good?
Not much. Let me just real quick say this thing to finish off the last point.
Yeah, finish up.
Just that when Hunter Thompson shot himself, he had said throughout his life that the idea that he could commit suicide was the only thing that really brought him like a feeling of security, that like his life was in his own hands, and you know, it was his to end when he wanted to, and that's when he got like too old and shitty. And I mean, if you look at Hunter Thompson late in his life, doesn't seem like a body you'd want to keep rocking around in, to be honest. Like, he looked like he was 90 when he was in his 60s because he did way too many drugs. So yeah, I understand why that guy'd want to kill himself. Anyway, what do you want to argue about, my dude?
What a beautiful and comforting thought that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was gonna say that if you don't want to be a public image, like you've stated many times, and you don't want to be a controversial figure, why start a show that is the whole premise is that you are a controversial figure, and the only way it could keep going is if you keep being a controversial figure. Because you know, everybody that's gonna come is just gonna ask you about lolis or like why you say the N-word. So
well, part of my idea behind this show is that I think a lot of the conflicts I get into are based around misunderstandings, and a lot of it is stuff that I feel if I were to just argue with people straight up, eventually we're gonna see each other's side better than if we, you know, do it from a distance. Like, even if I don't really want to. Well, first of all, I'm not as concerned about the whole public figure thing as I was last year.
Oh, you're not anymore?
Just because I feel like I've found a way to deal with it, which is this show. Which is, if you're gonna be someone who like talks shit and is a hater, you gotta come argue with me, or else I'm not gonna take you seriously. You know, like, I have a platform now where if, let's say, that anime snob makes another video about me, right? And then people are gonna start telling him, hey, you gotta go on his show or else you're gonna look like a huge pussy. And then if he doesn't come on the show, he looks like a huge pussy. So, you know, that's sort of the theory behind it, is I can resolve all these you know, dramas and conflicts, or at the very least bring those people on and make my audience decide whether they agree with them, but like not on the terms of like YKick making a video about me on his channel where he gets to change, you know, control the narrative. It's like we both have to be in this together in the same place live. Everyone gets to hear exactly what was said, you know?
It seems that the people that would have a lot of arguments with you just kind of showed up and did nothing. Like Mr. Meatman just showed up yesterday, or was it like the first
It was
day?
the first one.
And he was just being an idiot. So it seems that they're not really against your, you know, arguments as much as they're just against you, and they're just trying to make a fool out of you.
Yeah,
but I guess you just stated that you're just gonna make a fool out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Mr. Meatman came out looking like the smart person in that interaction.
Yeah, he didn't.
And I don't think what the what came off as a huge pussy by just sending a bunch of fakes, you know. So like, to me, it's like, this is now. Granted, I've built this show in a way where what I was attempting to do is make it so no one has complete power, because like, again, I won't kick somebody unless the chat says so as well. Now granted, the chat is mostly my fans, so which is hopefully that'll change. Like, I hope that this show will grow and that it won't always be as many people who agree with me. But you know, it's a challenge. We'll see what happens. I'm just curious about how this'll all go down. But I've been planning this show for a long time as like my way of dealing with the drama I've been constantly embroiled in. So,
yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Well, now you've complimented me, so you have to go.
Oh yeah, you're a bitch. See ya.
All right, it looks like Mr. Cynical is back in here. So.
All right, let's get him in.
Let's do that.
I know I've heard of that guy.
He's on Twitter, you know.
Is he the one whose name is just nothing on YouTube? Is that guy?
Yeah.
The Rika Furude avatar?
Yeah, he's in here. Yo.
Okay, yeah, get him in here. You here, Mr. Cynical?
Yeah, that's me. Hey, how you doing?
Word. What do you want to argue about? You're the one with the Furude Rika name and like no name, right, on YouTube?
Me. I've been commenting in your videos.
Yeah, I know. You're like one of my fucking shit commenters who's always on my ass. So I'm glad you're here. What do you want to argue about?
I just wanted to argue about your cult of personality and mostly your subjectivism or your gonzo journalism and on videos.
All right. Well, what's your problem with it?
The only problem I have is that you consider yourself an analyst and an analytical YouTuber. Mm-hmm. You mostly just argue or just analyze yourself more than the shows that you're talking about, and that's mostly the problems I have with you.
Personally, I don't think it's easy to talk about art without addressing the fact that you are the one consuming it. You know, like, if I don't address myself, then the difference in perspective between me and the other people who watch something will not be understood, you know? Like, we might all be watching the same show, but everyone's coming into it with their own biases and mindset and, like, you know, is going to interpret it differently. So I feel like if you don't address yourself, then you can't really communicate with other people about what you've seen, because what you've seen is not what they've seen. Even if it is the same show, you know, you don't interpret it the same way. How do you feel about that?
I don't disagree about that. I just disagree in terms that you put that as your front, and that's the only thing you end up talking about. You end up talking about your own biases, and that ends up being the only thing you end up talking about. You just say, this is me, this is DIGIBRO, this is how I felt while watching the show. But a person that also has watched the show only learns about yourself. You don't really learn about whatever anime you're talking about. Like, for example, Psychopath. Psychopaths, you learn more about how you felt about the genre of dystopia or cyberpunk. You don't really learn about anything regarding Psychopath, or in any case.
Do you feel that way about my 2-hour Psychopaths video?
It just feels a lot like you explaining the show, or just retelling the show, and people going, oh yeah, that's exactly what I watch. Or you convincing people just by talking about the show. You don't really go into any detail about what makes the show great, other than explaining the show.
Have you seen my 2-hour Psychopaths video? Is that the one you're arguing about right now?
Yeah, I have. But I don't want to just talk about your Psychopaths. I'm just talking in general about most of your videos is about that.
Well,
like, for example,
yeah, give me a good example, because I don't feel I don't know if you want to make that argument about the Psychopaths video, because I went into a lot of depth about what was good and bad about both shows in that.
For example, your talk about Dragon Maid, for example, it was just about you literally just going about your notes and saying nothing of substance, or you talking about.
How is it nothing? I mean, what do you consider to be of substance? Like, how would you judge such a thing? Like, what is...
Meaning to talk about the thing is that being analytical means to convey values about the show to an audience and reinforce what is good about it that people have not seen or understood.
That is totally... If you were to Google analysis right now, that is not the definition that's going to come up. So I don't know where you got that. Like,
definition itself doesn't matter. That's the purpose and job of conveying values within a show. And the only thing that you end up
who's determined that? Why do you think that? Like,
because you have to talk about the value and elevate the show itself. Endless Jest does the exact same thing with his pony analysis. And
what, the same thing as me, or the same thing that you're saying you should do?
I'm saying, sorry. No, because what I argue is that you just talk about yourself, and I argue that you should be talking about the show itself and what it does good to elevate the show, to make people understand and like it.
I mean, the reason I talk about myself is so that I can address why I liked the show, and if other people feel that way, then that would... I mean, like, let's say I talk about...
But then that's all the only thing you end up doing. And it's like,
why do I need to do
I understand you only have that biases.
I don't understand how I'm meant to talk about a show differently. Like, what would you recommend I say about Maid Dragon that would be different from what I said? Because, like, the way I feel about it is that
Maid Dragon just, you know, has maids, and I like it because the girl drinks, and isn't that great? And I like family because I also change from place to place. It's like, yeah, okay, Digi, I get where you're coming from in your life story, but what do I learn about Maid Dragon other than, oh, there's a girl that drinks and I relate to that. Oh, there's a girl that changed place, I relate to that. And at the end of the show, she stands up for herself. And I already watched the show, I know that happens. What do I learn about that show? And the only thing you end up doing is talking about yourself and saying what I've already seen about the show. I don't learn anything about the show. It doesn't elevate itself. You just elevate yourself. That's the problem.
I would say that to suggest that the show has, for me, a deep meaning that I connect with is to elevate the show. Like, what could be better about a show than that you connected with it in a meaningful way? Like, that's what I'm hoping to feel in all art that I watch, is that I connect with it. I mean, if you're someone who doesn't connect with the show, maybe you will watch my video and you'll feel like, wow, now I get why other people feel something towards this that I didn't, you know? I just don't see what else I could be saying that you would find so much more valuable.
not understood or value within the show itself. Because like I said, you're just talking about emotional, how you felt about it. And sure, I'm not saying that other people do not feel a sense of empathy or understanding from where you come from, and you understand, oh, that's why Digi feels that way. I get a better appreciation about Digi. But that's the problem. You feel more about Digi. You don't really know anything about the show itself. What do you learn about the show itself from your videos other than your emotional side about it? That's the problem.
I mean, I really feel like you're cherry picking like points I've made in videos, because when I think of the Maid Dragon video, those were both pretty minor points that you brought up in it. And like, to talk about the ending, I wasn't just describing that she does this thing in the ending. I was saying what that says about her as a character is that she has changed in this way where she's decided to give a fuck about somebody, and this is what, like, you know, makes her interesting. Is like she's someone who has switched from conflict avoidance to, you know, I mean, sure, maybe you can get that from watching the show. I would say that you can get anything that anyone could say about a show from watching the show, because the only way you can learn about a show is by watching it. Like, other than if you learn, like, outside information or something about, like, it would be different if I was doing an informational video, like, hey, here's what the directors have said about their work on it. That's one thing, but, like, how am I supposed to find more in the show than you could have if we both watched the same show? Like, if you're just saying...
That's the job of an analysis. You're supposed to give greater value within the show and find something that other people have not understood or have
I would say that plenty of other
realized.
people hadn't understood that. Just because you understood it, you might be good at analysis, and therefore my videos are not appealing to you. Like, I mean, you might already know the things I'm saying.
You're just emotional and talking about yourself.
Because that's something I can say that's totally unique. Nobody else can speak to my experience. Like, you can, like you said, if let's say that I were to make a video about all the reasons Maid Dragon is good. You could make that video yourself because you already know the reasons the show is good, going by what you're saying. My videos aren't for people like that. They're for people who don't know why the show is good. I mean, if you want to just have your opinions reaffirmed by watching somebody say what you agree with, that's also fun, and why a lot of people watch YouTube. But, like, to me, the purpose is to communicate whatever I think are the most unique things I can say about a show that other people could not say, you know?
That's the thing. The only thing you end up talking about is just yourself. Anyways, just to switch topics, because now people are saying that I'm boring about this topic and we're going in circles about the Maid Dragon. One of the problems that I have about you and that I want to bring up is the fact that your writing in of itself has not increased within the past 10 years, and I'd like to know what you've improved on in your writing.
In my writing? You don't think my writing's improved? I think my writing's, well, okay, and how long? What's your time frame?
Like 4 years or so.
4 years. In 2014, I was writing stuff like K-On! A Loving Thesis, which even, like, someone in the chat yesterday was telling me that they went back and tried to watch it and they couldn't sit through it because my writing was so much worse. Like, I've gotten so much better at figuring out what information is important. Like, a lot of my old videos have lots of nitpicks that I don't really feel like it was worth bringing up, or are just structured badly. They don't have a narrative element to them. The biggest problem with my my really old videos, like from 2014, the video Tracing the Lineage of Cowboy Bebop. At the time I made it, I thought it was like my best video. Looking back on it, I think it's fucking insufferable because there is no hook. There's no narrative. It's just a bunch of information. And that can be fun for some people, but, you know, the way I write now, I try to structure my videos so that there's always a narrative. If you watch the great anime director for Who Time Forgot, for instance, like, the whole way that video is structured is to slowly lead you through the information as I interpreted it and as I found it. And I mean, that's a video you can't possibly tell me was about my experience, because I don't even talk about myself in that one. So, like, you know, I think, like I said, I think you're really cherry picking. Like, yes, I do make videos about myself a lot, but I also do make videos about anime. I've made the most complete write-up about Mori Masaki that exists on the internet, you know?
Yeah, but I consider that more trivial information that anyone could have just looked at.
No, they could not have, because I fucking had to dig that shit up. That shit did not, there was no, like, there's no Wikipedia page for that guy. You can't just, like, look him up and know everything about him. Most people haven't even seen his movies. They probably weren't even translated till recently for the most part, you know?
Do you have, like, a favorite anime YouTuber?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite anime YouTuber?
Yeah. Well, I would say Pause and Select and Pedantic Romantic would be my favorite anime YouTubers. But I still like you, but I still think that your subjectivism brings you down because you only want to talk about yourself other than, talking about the shows itself. But
I mean, in this case, I would say we'll probably just have to agree to disagree on that front because personally, that's really what I want from analysis videos. Like, I do like when people bring up broad concepts and stuff like that. But if people are just telling me why a show is good and it's the same reasons that I could have come to that conclusion myself, or that that other shows have already been talked about that are good in the same way, I think that's boring. I want to hear, like, why did you like it? Because I'm interested in people. I'm not really that interested in what anime is good, because I can form that opinion myself by watching all the anime. I don't watch analysis videos for recommendations of shows to watch or anything, I watch it because I want to know, why did this person who I love talking to feel something towards a piece of art? And I mean, that's just what I like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You end up learning more about the person itself, and if
that's a good thing. I like learning about people. I want to learn about humans. Yeah, but in the end, you only learn.
That's the problem. That's a limitation. If everyone just talks about themselves, you end up learning nothing about the art itself, and that's limiting and doesn't tell you anything.
I think it tells you a ton about the art to know how people, like, if I am, let's say, Pedantic Romantic, for instance.
That doesn't say anything.
Pedantic Romantic, as a trans woman, has a very different perspective than I do on a lot of things. Like, I want to know how she feels about shows as a trans woman, because that's the most interesting thing she could possibly say about a show. It's something I can't interpret. I can't watch the show as a trans woman because I'm not one. So, like, that's exclusively what I want to hear about, Now, not to say that I want her to become a gimmick or anything, but...
Yeah, sure. I don't disagree that finding more about the experience of trans people interesting in their perspective and that about the show itself, only that how that perspective influenced them. That still doesn't say that's a problem with the... Anyways, because I'm now repeating myself.
I think I think this is gonna have to resolve on an agree to disagree, because I really feel strongly that what I want is the opposite, and like I appreciate the frustration from people like you because of the fact that there aren't a lot of great anime analysis
the chat is
people.
nexting him.
Yeah, I mean, we're just wrapping this up, I think.
Okay, yeah, and I just want to one more point. Your cult of personality. I brought it up, and I'd like to bring it back up.
Okay.
Just want to point out that by being subjective and all that, people will become more interested in you, and that becomes a detriment to your overall channel because people only care about what you say and who you are rather than the art itself, and that makes people just stick to you instead of moving on, and that's the problem with your cult of personality.
Isn't that the goal as a content creator, to have people come back?
Yeah,
people
I mean, I want returning customers, but
like...
I mean, I would say I can kind of I can see where that's a problem, and I want to fix that. I want to do more to promote other people and other art other than myself. I do think that historically I've had a difficult time recommending things unless I have something to say about them, which is kind of a dangerous mindset because, yeah, it doesn't give me a lot of opportunities to just be like, this is a great piece of art and you need to watch it, regardless of the fact that I said something about it. And when I say things like that, people are usually just, are you going to make a video about it? And it's like, I can't make a video about everything. I just want you to watch this goddamn show. But, it is a complicated relationship I have with art because I do this job. So, yeah, I can appreciate
because, like I said,
sentiment.
You put yourself in front of the art itself. And that's the problem with cult of personality. You just put yourself in front of the art, and people learn less about the art than yourself. But again, that's what you're looking into a YouTuber. But I still feel that relates back to, back in your days when you find out you wanted to, how you like your GameCube. And I just feel that you just end up why you felt that way instead of just talking about what makes a game good. And that holds you back from your writing.
I think that, well, yeah, okay, well, I think I understand your stance, you understand my stance, so that's, okay, fine. That's good enough.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, peace out.
See you later. In the comment section, surely.
Discount Picasso.
That guy was a lot more reasonable than I expected him to be based on his comments over the last 5 years.
I know. Alright, it's Discount Picasso.
I don't think we're gonna be able to beat this boss. What is up? What do you want to argue about?
I would like to make the point that postmodern art actively ruins the art itself.
Oh boy.
Like for example, I would consider the new trap trend in rap to be postmodern like rap, and that's actively ruining rap.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Why is it postmodern rap? What is postmodern about trap music?
Well, personally, what I consider like postmodern is like sort of subverse, like not like necessarily being original, but being like sort of going against the grain of what like the art is about.
How does trap music go against the art of what rap is about? Define trap first. Because trap is just like a sonic profile of music. Like it's not there's no like the way I see it, trap music is just if it has a fucking deep bass and some jittering hi-hats. Like there's such a broad swath of what's considered that. So is there something more specific you're referring to? Like can you name an artist?
Like for example, Lil Yachty.
Okay, that's who I thought you were gonna say. So you think that he subverts the purpose of the genre of rap?
Like for example, like he's hiding behind the fact that like like for example in his 88 Rising interview he said that oh man, you see you can't pay attention to trends, you gotta be completely different, and I think that like he's using that as an excuse to like hide behind the fact that his music is just terrible most of the time.
Okay, first of all, I love Lil Boat, the album. I think Lil Boat's great. And granted, I think his album after that was fucking terrible. But to say that it's like, I think the whole point of his album is just to have like an alternative viewpoint from what a lot of rap is, where a lot of it is more like moody or angry or like socially conscious, and his shit is like very cutesy and innocent and playful, and that's what I think's unique about it.
Well, being playful is like fine, like being playful is fine. It's just the way he does it. Like he just like is bad at his lyrics, but it's just uses that to like just and like uses the fact that I'm going for this playful vibe, this vibe, he like uses that as an excuse.
I don't think that his problem is his postmodern mindset per se. I mean, he's definitely got that mindset of like. Postmodernism, to backpedal a little bit and explain how I understand it, postmodernism is essentially the mindset of I don't create things to be good per se or for anyone else to appreciate. I create it because it's what I want to make and I don't give a fuck. And like the conceived notions of what is good or bad don't matter to me. Definitely Yachty's mindset, but the fact that he makes bad music sometimes isn't because of that. It's because he's an immature 19-year-old who thinks he's better than he is and didn't get questioned enough when he was making his second album, which is why he fucking redacted so hard on Lil Boat 2 and played it as safe as fucking possible. By the way, that quote from him is pretentious as shit, and there's no way that could even be applied to him, because his music is all trend writing. It's all trap rap. Like, it's as trendy as it fucking gets. So yeah, I think he's a pretentious asshole, and that like he says that he's an outsider, and I just like, and that raises a few eyebrows for me, because it's like, you're not an outsider. Like, why 12-year-olds and like 18-year-olds love you, and like a lot of like new hip hop, like insiders like XXXTentacion and like others like that. I mean, I understand why he'd look at himself as an outsider because of the way that the media treats him. Like, when you've got guys like Fantano being like, oh, Lil Yachty's the beginning of the punk age of hip-hop, and like, and dead-end hip-hop hates him. Like, I get why he'd look at himself as an outsider to hip-hop, but he's definitely not an outsider to culture. And like I said, I think he's pretentious as fuck. I mean, the kid got famous super early, and you tend to get a big head. I mean, he's not a bad guy by any stretch, but like, I do think he's full of shit. I don't blame postmodernism for Lil Yachty being full of shit, though. I mean, how do you feel about, like, Dean Blunt? Have you ever heard him?
No.
He's
like I'm not making the case of, like, just because, like, art is postmodern that, it's bad. Like, JPEG Mafia is an example of that, Like, I call his art very experimental and postmodern, but, it is good.
Well,
but,
see,
like,
that's the thing. If you're saying that, and I actually don't know well enough, because I've never talked to JPEG Mafia or listened to enough interviews, the approach he takes. But the way I see it, he's not even as postmodern as you might think, because he does strive to make his music good. Like, the idea of having any standard at all of what you consider good or bad is not postmodern. You know, like, that would be a modernist perspective. Now, modernists, they believe that there is, you know, that you have to evolve things to continue to make them good. They don't believe in just sticking to one standard forever, but to be postmodern is to not believe that there is such thing as a good or bad, and to not give a fuck about it. And JPEG Mafia, to me, seems like somebody who puts a lot of effort into crafting things that will be recognized for their quality. You know, I think the reason that reviewers love him so much is because he tries to make shit that they will like, you know? But as for someone like me, who I consider to be extremely postmodern, because I don't give a fuck, and I'll release songs that nobody likes but me, you know? To me, postmodernism, to suggest that it's a problem would be to suggest that it's a problem to just make art for its own sake. That everything should be trying to be a masterpiece. And I understand that if you're trying to be the best version of yourself you can possibly be, you should always push yourself to try and, you know, do whatever you're doing as well as you can. But I also don't think that, I think it's really limiting to art in general to say, like, well, everything you do has to try to be a masterpiece. It's like, well, sometimes I just have a goofy fucking meme idea I want to throw on the internet, and whether people think it's funny or not will be up to them. But, you know, I'm making it because I want to. Like, do you have a problem with that mindset towards making content?
No, that's fine. But it's like, it's when people use that, like, as an excuse to just, like, and then, like, parade themselves around as, like, being, like, actually amazing. When they just,
I'll agree with you there. I mean, I don't blame postmodernism. That's just people being douchebags. Like, that's just people being pretentious, like Lil Yachty. But, you know.
Well, I guess we can, like, sort of, like, agree on that point, but also, like, bring up another, like, small point. On the subject of music again, Kendrick Lamar, I personally don't think that he's going back to, like, the style of album he used to make, you know, after releasing Damn, because, I mean, I think it's his most popular and well-received album, despite being his least conceptual album yet.
You know, I think...
And also to, like, show
I disagree.
I
think you're going to be shocked. I think you're going to be shocked because I think that the only reason Kendrick made Damn so accessible was so that he could be called the GOAT. Because there was this piece by...
I'm sorry, what's the GOAT?
The greatest of all time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think, so there's this... Have you ever heard of the channel, oh, fuck, what's he... The Company Man. Also known as...
No, I have not.
Fuck, I don't remember what the name... Hip Hop DX. There's this guy called The Company Man, and he used to be on a channel called Hip Hop DX, just a general hip hop news channel, but he does like an analysis show on there. And he has this series called Greatest of All Time, where he breaks down whether or not a artist is, like, capable of being considered the GOAT. And his argument about Kendrick was that in spite of the fact that he had all these great albums, all these accolades, he'd never had a #1 single. He'd never had, like, a huge song. Then Humble came out and changed that, you know? And then Loyalty and Love came out and changed that again. So what
about Swimming Pools?
I don't think it was ever a #1, like, on the chart, like an actual chart topper.
Really, because when that album came out, I was like you know, like in like grade school, like 9 or 8 when that came out, and I still when I listen to it now, I still remember like what it sounded like. Yeah, you know, it was that popular.
It was big, and I mean, "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" was even bigger. I mean, he had popular songs, he just never had an out-and-out #1 single until fucking Humble was the biggest rap single since like in like over a decade. It was huge. So like,
yeah, because like.
I just really think that his approach was that he was trying to make the best-selling album so that would be sort of checked off his checklist to be the greatest of all time. And also, he wanted to, you know, not be quite so stuffy. Personally, I find To Pimp a Butterfly almost difficult to listen to at times because of the fact that, like, it is so, like... constantly, you know, on message and
all right, the chat is getting fed up with this.
What was that?
The chat's
all right. You continue on.
Yeah, all right. Well, did you have anything else you want to do? Anything else to add to that at all?
Well, just you know, like sort of, as like a weak attempt to save face. Yeah, I am that 14-year-old kid that wrote that comment.
Oh,
that,
really?
The one that you saw.
The one that I fucking shit on you
Yeah,
for,
it was a dumbass comment. It was a really dumbass comment. No, the criticism was completely distorted.
Well, I'm glad that you feel that way.
One question: are you Munchie from another dimension?
I thought, what would I sound like on the PCP? But I would just it always comes back to, I would just be like a weaker Munchie. Oh,
you're like a blacker Munchie.
Anyone is a weaker Munchie. No one has the strength that he has. No one, not the inner nor outer strength.
You're right.
All right, bring in the next arguer.
We're gonna get in Jiffy because he's going nuts in the chat.
Alrighty. I've heard that name.
Yo, yo, yo.
What is up?
Oh, am I active? Am I live?
You are live. You are on. You are on the
I
fucking
did not
air.
watch the last stream, so somebody might have said this, but I'm gonna keep it short. Thesis statement. No more wishy-washy shit. Right. Your album covers are ugly.
Do you like any of them?
They're homely.
None of them. None of them. They're all bad. Let's go through them. Let's go through them one by one.
All right, go ahead.
I should have had this prepared, but Veteran Bedrock album cover. Click.
That one's great. I love that album cover.
It's a bad fucking. First of all, it's poorly cropped. It looks like, and it's unnatural to the eye. It's like
that's
weird
because
to look at.
that's because it was a 16:9 picture that I just turned into a square.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
Second of all, it doesn't like encapsulate the room properly. It just shows your room plastered in shit. If you want to discover like convey the vibe of bedroom bedrock, you need more grunge. You need more grunge. All you got is you got a box of box wine and you've got like one plate of food.
I think
and you've got the fucking name of the album pulled up on a window that's not even full screened on your computer monitor. And it's like the lighting's awful.
So you can see that it's that I do all my covers in MS Paint.
That's not a good thing.
You don't think it's cool? Okay. Do you appreciate that the text is in the PubCat font as a reference to all my old albums?
I did not know anything about that, so I can't speak to that. I just saw it and I thought it looked ugly. Also,
all right, I understand. The album covers are not supposed to be aesthetically pleasing, so I can't really make a strong argument for the opposite. I mean, with Gay and Dead, the idea was I just wanted a picture of an
I wouldn't mind if they weren't aesthetically pleasing, if they at least conveyed effectively the feel of the album they're covering.
I feel like they do, but
okay, let's look at Above the Earth Haunted. Your EP.
That one was made by Shade.
I was gonna say it's the least bad of the group, probably because it was made by Shade.
Well, it's funny because I didn't like his. I didn't even like his cover for that. But
here's the thing: it does just sort of look like a fucking Babby's First entry-level clusterpunk thing, doesn't it? It looks like an inverted color picture of clouds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know how to argue this. My album covers do look like shit, but I feel like that's the point.
No, I haven't gotten to the worst one yet. You can't counter argument yet. I'm almost done.
All right.
Gay and Dead, my favorite album of yours. It's just it's so bad, man. Look at this.
Everyone hates that album cover except.
It's so fucking ugly.
This is not a surprise to me at all because I've gotten to even fucking Blind Skywatcher gave me tons of shit for that album cover.
All of it.
Nobody
the picture quality is bad, the color contrast is bad, the saturation is bad. Ironically, it kind of rings memories of that this video you made of Mario Odyssey has the same sort of problems.
To clarify, I did not take that photo. In case you thought that photo is just I googled unmarked grave. And that was one of the images. That was the only image that looked enough like a grave that all of my album covers are or really all my thumbnails, all my everything. In fact, the entire way that all of my art is created is that I open Google and I type in a word and then I grab something on the first page and then I fuck with it. And
I think that's low effort and bad.
I don't disagree.
Okay then, I think we're done here.
I am into the aesthetic of shitcore. I like it. I like things that look shitty. when they're shitty in such a weird, implaceable way that you're not really sure why they would have ever thought of it. When you look at it,
it's not shitty enough in a unique and interesting way to be good.
I mean, the thing about that album cover is that as soon as I came up with the title, Gay and Dead, my immediate thought was it has to be a picture of an unmarked grave. But then once I looked up pictures of unmarked graves, I realized that is can also be described as a photo of the ground. Because if there's no marker, then there's no marker to indicate it's a grave. So I just found the only picture that had flowers on it so that you can actually tell that it's supposed to be an unmarked grave, hopefully. And that was the album cover. But, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you if you don't like it. So
Alright, well, I guess that's all I really had to say.
It's kind of indefensible. Alright, bring in the next guy.
Alright.
Thank you for that one. I probably deserved it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who were really happy that somebody called me out on that.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I wasn't unaware to all those people. Blind Skywatcher called me out on that even while we were making the album, and I refused to change the cover. She insisted, I refused. Still sold pretty well.
Chaya Smare? I don't know. Whoever you are.
What was the name?
Wait, they left. No.
Well.
Din Wiesel. Okay.
Din Wiesel? Was that the name?
Wiesel,
That's
yep.
fucking hilarious. Where are you at, by the way?
I'm in the item store.
Am I live?
You are live. What's going on?
Not much. Playing a Destiny Strike, grinding the shit. My thing I want to put forth to you, and this has been on my mind, because you originally, I don't know, it was like months ago, but you said the way we watch anime is wrong. You brought up the way that, I think it was Monogatari was released. Mm-hmm. So I had a problem with when I was watching Gurren Lagann that you actually kind of fixed. Okay. Where, when I was watching it, Keaton at one point said, "You're not a beast man," to Kamina. And then he pulled his mouth and he had no fangs. But then his sister specifically pulled out her cheek and showed off a fang. And that pissed me off because I thought that like, oh, his sister's a beastman in disguise, oh, it's a plot point. And then nothing fucking came of it.
That's really funny. I never thought that, but I can totally see why you would think that because she does have a fang.
Exactly. So what I thought, and I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. This is fucking difficult. I'm doing the heroic.
Wait, what are you playing right now? You're playing Destiny?
Destiny 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Just fucking blowing up some shit.
So they use the same difficulty titles as Halo in that?
Yeah, but what I should say is that the way I've started watching anime is by selecting episodes to watch weekly. So I'll watch like one episode a week so I have time to forget about shit like that. So it doesn't fuck me up.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because my biggest problem with watching weekly, growing up at least, I don't think this would be a problem anymore, was that I couldn't keep track of the plot if I watched it weekly. I would forget everything, not just that the girl had a fang, but like I just would forget the whole fucking story.
No, and that's my goal. Is I want to forget because when I binge a show, I will remember that shit and it will piss me off and break a show.
Okay. Like
it'll break it. Like it breaks characters. Like you said, you couldn't watch. Universe, whatever the fuck, Place Further Than the Universe.
Yeah.
Because one of the characters was like exactly what you expected.
Yeah.
That shit is what happens to me when I see a plot point like that and nothing happens to it.
Okay, so what exactly is your argument against me?
That the way we watch anime is wrong.
So you think that watching weekly is the right way to watch? Is basically what you're saying.
Effectively, yeah. Like even when we're doing it online, the way it's structured should be so that we have time to forget things like that, so that the writers have a bit of leeway, and they should account for that.
You know,
in some way.
I think that the only reason that you feel that way, especially about a show like Gurren Lagann, is that it was made to be watched weekly. Like
exactly. No, that's my point.
But if a show, well, okay, the Monogatari release schedule though, the reason I praised that is that it wasn't released weekly, so it's not written around encouraging that kind of behavior. Like,
I was just using that more as an example of something that fucked with it and got away from it.
You should go into your inventory and use all the free XP we got from the last mission.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
It leveled me up like 4 levels.
Where do I go?
Just go hit E in your inventory and just scroll down.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's all good.
Oh, it's an.
Yeah, no.
I can't even use it.
So that was more just like, is that the fact that I do that and the fact that that is a thing that we're trying to get away from this weekly schedule, is that a bad thing or a good thing? I kind of want to rub your mind on that.
I mean, I understand. I think that I wouldn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say no anime should be released weekly ever again. I would rather say there needs to be more shows that incorporate different release styles to appeal to different audiences. Like, every time I make that point, I do have people who tell me, like, they prefer to watch weekly because a lot of people who work or who, you know, only have so much time in the week to watch shows don't want to have to fucking Netflix binge everything. And, I just think that because of the fact that I don't want to watch anything weekly, it makes it harder for me to watch shows that are written that way, you know? But there are definitely shows like Precure, you should not try to marathon, you know? That's a show you should watch once a week because there's a lot of mediocre episodes and stuff you'll want to forget about.
That'll rot your brain.
Yeah. But like I just would prefer that there were more options, that like not every show was released that way, so that, you know, because there's so many people like me now, and especially with Netflix being as big as it is now, like, you know, that model of release is popular with a lot of people. My parents will sit down and fucking watch an entire show in a day. You know, like, they'll watch... my parents will sit down and marathon Game of Thrones by watching a season every day until they're done. Like, I know people who will just binge shit. And in cases like Game of Thrones, that show is way better to watch all at once than weekly. Because when you watch it weekly, you realize that so little shit happens in each episode, and you really need to fucking, like, move... Like, it makes the show feel worse. So I think that shows just need to look at themselves and ask, like, what is the best method of release, you know, not just what is the industry standard, but like what will fit this story.
What fits this story the best? Okay. Also, I know you were talking about music more, and I just want to ask before I go, what's your opinion of Macklemore?
Never liked him. Can't get into
All right, fair enough. It's not a taste for everybody. All right, I'm good. Next person.
All right, peace out.
Bye.
Likewise.
Is your game entirely in Japanese?
Yeah, my game's entirely in
That's so weird, because mine is, like, normal.
I think it's the patch. Oh, wait, yours is normal?
Mine is fine.
What the fuck? Maybe it's because you had, done things in a different order than me, because you tried to patch it, and then you, like you patched the translation file, then you patched the game. Did it make you patch the translation file again when you started it up again?
No.
Oh, well.
No, I have no idea.
I don't know why the fuck my shit's in Japanese.
I'm gonna get Leo Convoy.
Leo Convoy.
Leo Convoy? Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, what's going on? What do you want to argue about?
Not much. What you want to argue about?
What do I want to argue about?
Sure, what do you want to argue about? I'll let you choose the topic.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I didn't even consider this possibility. What should I argue about? May, what do you think? Well, I don't know what your breadth of knowledge is. I don't know what your, I don't know what we disagree on. It's just a lot easier if it's me because I'm a public figure. I don't know what the hell you know. Like, here's what I want to argue with you. Like, how the fuck could you think that I would have an argument? Oh, shit, I just proved you right! No! Ah!
Well, I don't know, man. You seem like the type of person to argue with just about anything short of a brick.
I would argue with probably most things if they challenged me. I don't know. This is a stupid idea. You're getting kicked. Get him out.
Okay.
I don't know how to frame that.
All right, Hime. Oh, they left.
Well,
Hatbox.
I feel like some people hear you say their name and go, "Oh shit," and then they fucking skate.
Hey.
Hatbox, is that you? That's
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're fine. What's your argument?
So earlier you talked about, and you said he was like a happier, more bright alternative to trap music, right?
Uh-huh.
But lyrically, he just isn't. Like, lyrically, he talks about selling drugs.
This is actually an interesting point you're making, because I feel weird about Lil Yachty in a way. He doesn't talk about selling drugs, does he? I don't think Lil Yachty
believe he does.
sold any drugs. He probably does. I mean, Lil Yachty's lyrics are very like. I mean, he's fronting constantly in all his songs, acting like a badass. I mean, I would say that the overall tonality of an album like Lil Boat is that he's presenting himself as sort of a sensitive, nice boy figure, even if well, there's really meant to be two characters, as Lil Yachty and Lil Boat. Lil Yachty's the sensitive one, Lil Boat is the angry one, and like, you know, I think that narrative is sort of held across the album, even if both of them have no love for them bitches at all, which is funny. I actually got into Oliver really hard because I saw him as like Lil Yachty, but one who doesn't hate women. So
there is, can I recommend? Actually, is a happy alternative.
Who?
To,
yeah, you cut out when
music.
you said the name of the person.
Do you know about Amine?
Amine? No, never heard of him.
Yes. Well, he is very he actually is a happy alternative to trap music. Like he is happy. He's not talking about killing you. He's not talking about any of this stuff. He's talking about like, you know, just like chilling at home, you know, listening to music, being too lazy to go to church, you know, stuff like that. Like,
I mean,
I
just think that with Yachty, the idea of his music is that even when he is saying stuff like that, it's all clearly tongue-in-cheek. Like, you know this guy is not doing these things. You know he's just being a meme. Like, to me, like, Yachty is really encapsulated by the music video for One Night, where it's, like, just a bunch of, like, crazy visual nonsense and funny, dumb stuff. Like, he's not a guy who takes himself seriously, so, like, his lyrics are meant to be for you to... like, okay, with rap music, even though a lot of it is violent and crazy and gangster shit, and a lot of it is about, you know, this shit life that the people are experiencing. At the same time, it is meant to be empowering a lot of the time. Like, a lot of that music is about rising from the dark place that you're in. A lot of it is about, you know, like celebrating your own badassery. And, like, for people who grew up with rap music, you listen to these people talk about this crazy shit, and, like, you haven't experienced it, but you can gain power from how cool it sounds, you know, how badass these people sound doing this stuff. But with Yachty, there's no illusion that this is all meant to be real or taken seriously, or that you know, ought to feel any guilt for, because it's all just a self-indulgent fantasy. It's all just like,
right,
you know, it's in good fun, and I think that the music communicates that. Like, you know, it makes you feel like, oh, I am allowed to, like, smile while talking about capping your ass because it is funny. You know, like, rap lyrics are hilarious out of context, you know? So, I think he plays on that, but I do see what you're saying, that, like, yeah, I kind of agree, because even though I thought his music was really happy and fun at first, when I tried to listen to it in the context of, like, romantic situations, I was like, I can't really listen to an album where every song is about how I don't love any bitch, and I hope they all fucking, like, leave me alone, you know?
Right, and that's the thing, though, is that, like, he portrays himself as this, you know, eccentric kind of figure, and then when you listen to his lyrics, you could put just a standard trap beat over these lyrics, and it wouldn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, I think that the fact that he's presenting it the way he is what gives it meaning, or gives it its, you know, anything in the first place. Like, if he wanted to, he could just rap over regular trap beats, but yeah, no, I don't disagree that his music is kind of confused and all over the place. I'm not, like, a huge Yachty fanboy or anything. I do think most of his music is fucking terrible. Like, other than Lil Boat, and even that, I only like half the songs on it, so...
right.
You know, I just defend more of what he stands for than his actual music and persona. Well, is that it? You want to argue about it?
Yeah, that was it.
Alright. Thanks for calling in. Let's bring in the next guy. Or girl, maybe. We've had, like, one girl call into the show, I think. It was Cappy.
So sad. This guy over here.
Oh, we also had Pedro.
Hey.
What's going on? What you want to argue about?
So, today I wanted to talk about something that I've had a lot of problems with that other people don't seem to, or at least I haven't seen people talk about. It's confusing genres with settings.
Okay.
So, as a topical example, Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out soon, and I'm pretty hyped for that.
What is coming out soon?
But, well, sorry, it's been announced. Whatever.
What is? I didn't know what that is. What is that?
Well, Cyberpunk 2077, it's
that's the new game from the Witcher guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, cool, it's new Cyberpunk game," and then they see the trailer, and there's like people complaining about why is the sun there? Why is this? Why is that? Where's the cyan and magenta type aesthetic?
Right. I feel you.
Which is a staple, I guess, of what people think Cyberpunk is. Like, you see Psychopaths, and there's a lot of those colors in there.
Right.
But the thing is that Cyberpunk is an actual copyrighted brand with its own lore and its own story.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people think like, oh no, it's a genre. Like, no, the genre is science fiction.
So are you saying that, okay, is your argument that the game is or is not Cyberpunk?
I'm saying that the game is Cyberpunk, and that people's preconceived notions of what Cyberpunk is do not apply.
Okay, I agree with you, so I'm not sure how to argue about it.
So my standpoint is that there's a lot of things that people attribute to genres when they're not genres at all. Like, a lot of people say like, Star Wars is a space opera, and like, no, it's just science fiction.
Okay, well, is there any case where I have made this mistake that you'd like to argue with me about? Because I'm totally on your side here. I mean, if you just come out here to vent, that's fine, but
Well, I thought it was I thought this stream was supposed to be sort of like you argue anything. I didn't realize I needed to argue.
No, the idea is more that the idea of this stream is more that we end arguments by coming to understandings, is sort of what I'm trying to do here. It's not so much that I will just argue the opposite standpoint, because if the opposite standpoint is illogical, then there's no argument to make. And I totally agree with you on this point. Like, I think that I do agree that, like, a lot of people have pointlessly limiting views of genre. I'm more bothered, I would be less bothered by people saying that, like, the game doesn't look cyberpunk enough. I'm more bothered by when people, like what you said with Star Wars, like, call something a genre based on its setting and it's really not. Like, you can have something, you can have a thriller movie that's in a sci-fi setting. It's not a sci-fi movie unless it's about science fiction, like, I don't even know if, like, I don't even know if you would necessarily consider, like, Alien to be a sci-fi movie, because it's.
I would consider it to be a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. I haven't actually seen Alien, so
I mean, it's one of those hybrid genre movies.
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't only call it a science fiction. Like, I wouldn't say, hey, go take the kids, but.
Right. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. So sorry that you misunderstood the nature of the show, but
All right. Well, here's a better question.
All right.
In your Psychopaths video, you mentioned that it had themes, something along the lines of saying that having a completely capitalist society would lead to such a place, and I disagree with that.
Did I say that?
You said something to the effect that capitalism would lead to government, that capitalism would lead to corporations becoming a sort of new government.
I don't think that was me. I think you might have me confused for somebody else, because I don't remember mentioning capitalism at all when I talked about Psychopaths.
Well, shit.
Sorry. Alright. We'll have to bring in somebody else. You can think of, if you can think of something else later, we can bring you back.
Alright, thank you.
No problem. I don't think I ever said anything about capitalism, Psychopaths. Someone can correct me on that in the chat if I did say something that I forgot, but I try to not talk about things like capitalism because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to that. Like, when it comes to explaining politics by way of, like, actual terms and theory, like I can tell you about Psychopaths, but if I try to start using, like, too many big words, people are gonna be like, you keep using that word. I don't think you know what it means.
Alright, gonna get true fan.
That's a Princess Bride quote, incidentally.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, what's going on?
Hello?
You wanna argue?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, dude, yeah. I've been waiting for a little bit. I wasn't expecting to be picked.
Well, you're in here now, so what do you want to argue about?
Okay, so this is a serious topic I want to talk about.
All good.
It's the use of language.
Uh-huh.
I heard you guys' podcast with PCP.
Yeah.
And you guys use the N-word.
Yes.
uncensored.
Which
and
we're
it's
not allowed
like,
to say on Twitch, so I'm not going to repeat it here.
I know, I understand that, yeah. But coming as a, coming as African American, I see that as like, sort of, somewhat offensive, if I could say that, yeah.
Okay.
But
what
like
offends
my
you about
thing,
it?
I mean, like when I first heard it, I was like, whoa. I was like, why? Like, I assume it's in a negative context because to me, when growing up, I always perceived the N-word as a negative context. I never saw it as a positive thing to be called at,
Even in like a casual, like a non-ER kind of way? No.
Like what do you mean like casual? Because like I don't think
if
anyone...
you and your friends never said it to each other with an A on the end.
Oh, okay. That's like to me. I think the
one with
the A and the one.
Would you be if no one ever said the ER word on PCP? Would it not bother you? Is it only bothersome with that word, like that permutation of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I heard you guys' arguments of like.
So it's not so much about like white people saying it as just that particular permutation of the word.
Just like that because like the A, whatever the end of the A is like that was, to me, I perceive it as like it was made by the African community, and it's has a positive connotation of friendship, whatever, and stuff like that. But the ER is like that has. Obviously past histories of, racism tied to it. So that's how I perceive the two words.
I think the reason that the PCP is especially is so into using it is because it's deeply offensive. And that's what makes it funny, is that it makes people uncomfortable when it's just a word. Like, to me, the idea that, like, that I would, and granted, I'm not in a position where this word affects me in any way.
That's another thing is, I understand.
But like, I just, I've been called a lot of things in my life, and obviously nothing to do with like my race, because I'm a white guy, and we don't generally, I mean, not to say that white people are like never discriminated against in any scenarios, but I'm
not doing any like PC,
No, yeah, I know you're not. I'm just making sure I'm making sure I don't sound too PC. But
okay.
But like when it comes to that word, and granted, like for me, I heard it a lot from my friends, and not always in a like some of the people I heard use it growing up like were racist,
Right, yeah. Okay.
So it's not that I don't think that the word can be offensive. I know it can. But to me, if you say it and you don't mean offense and the other person doesn't take offense, then where's the problem,
But that's the thing, like I don't know I don't like it'd be hard to tell. Wouldn't it be hard to tell like if it would be if you knew that.
See, here's the thing about that, is that when it comes to the words I use, and I hear this a lot of the time, where people will be like, well, if you just didn't use this one word, I don't know how many words are banned from Twitch. Am I allowed to say faggot on Twitch? Does anybody know? Can anyone tell me?
Probably not. Probably not.
Like, that word, it's funny, there was a period where I kind of stopped using it, and the reason is that, I have a lot of close ties with the gay community. I've had people tell me that it does offend them, and the way I saw it, Run the Jewels, when they invented or when they popularized the word fuckboy, they basically did that to replace faggot in rap music, and that's cool, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, everything I say offends somebody. Everything, literally every word that comes out of my mouth, I get complaints about. And
yeah, you are very controversial. I would
right,
say
and I mean, I've had opinions on anime that got me more, got me in hotter water than using the N-word. Like, I've used that word continually for years and barely gotten called out on it at all. Meanwhile, I'll, say Erased is bad and all of r/anime hates me forever now. So, from my perspective, it's like, there is no victory. There is no, just cut this word and people will stop being offended. No, I'm always going to be offending people with the things I say. So for me, it's kind of like, well, why stop here? If I'm going to be somebody who knows I'm offending people, I might as well just offend everybody. If I'm, not on purpose, like I'm not going out of my way to make people feel bad. I'm just being myself, using the words that come to me, and hoping that the members of my audience will understand. And I don't even necessarily want them to all agree with me or to feel comfortable with my use of it. I'm okay with people having to apologize for me. I kind of address it a lot in, like, my songs and stuff, that I understand that I'm not the easiest person to say you're a fan of or to say that you're friends with. But I kind of like that. I kind of like challenging people to have to, like, you know, reconsider how you, like, if you're a fan of me, if you think I'm a smart guy and you hear me say something that you're like, wow, I didn't think a smart guy or a non-racist would say that word, it makes you rethink about the word. If you're someone who thinks that only racist people would say it, and then you hear someone who you think is demonstrably not racist say it, then you have to go, well, okay, well, what does the word mean, you know? And that's why we're having this conversation right now. So, now granted, the PCP has all talked about using it less. Munchie's trying to wean it from his repertoire because he thinks it's kind of a crutch as a comedian, you know? And he also wants to be able to have more opportunities in the future because, you know, like, I went on the Dick show, and, like, he's, you know, he gave a warning to his audience. We're talking about Dick Masterson, libertarian supreme. Like, living embodiment of the concept of what even is a libertarian. And he's like, warning his audience that there's 2 hard R N-words in the episode. But the reason that I almost love hearing Munchie say it is that Munchie's not white. And he doesn't really even know what he is. Like, he knows his father, but he doesn't really know what race. His dad's like a Mexican and something, I guess. Like, he's not really sure. You know, he's like, he knows who his dad is, but he's not, like, close to him or anything. He hasn't been around. So, the way I see it, when you look at somebody like that and you challenge, like, their use of words, I'm just like, well, how do you know, like, what that word means to him? You know, like, maybe he deals with his identity or lack thereof in these terms. I mean, for me, I'm a person who grew up without any real culture, like, because I don't really know my ancestry. My mom only just found out who her real dad is a few, like, weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
So, like, for me, I always just kind of copied whatever everyone around me was doing, you know, and, like...
And to me, that's fine, you know, that's the whole point of living in America, it's like picking up a culture that you identify with. I have no problem with that. It's just like, the problem I have is like when people use it, but I can't tell if it's like, if it's jokingly, or, you know, or if it's like intentional, because I've been called, you know, the N-word before, and it's like, you know, in a like spiteful way, and it's like, you know, just seeing it all online, people are trying to be edgy. It's like, yeah, you are a whatever, you know. That to me just gets me. It's like, come on, like, why do you have to, like?
Yeah, but I mean, there is a word for everybody though. Like, there's a great in Endless. Have you ever seen the Endless Jest video? What you gonna do?
No, I haven't watched Endless Jest.
Okay, so there's this video he did, and it's about. Do you know about the controversy surrounding Hulk Hogan from a few years ago?
Yeah, I you guys talked about it. I listened to like one of the podcasts,
So he has a video about that, and his argument essentially was that, like, he knows, because Hulk Hogan has a long history. He's a very well reported on man, and a lot of people have problems with him. Like, a lot of people in the wrestling industry hate his fucking guts, hate everything about him. But even those people insisted that in their experience, Hulk Hogan had never shown any signs of being a racist. They were like, I could tell you a laundry list of things that are wrong with them, but he always got along with people of other races. He's never had a problem with that. So why did he use this word? And as Jesse puts it, it's because he was angry at this guy, and this guy is black. And this is a word he can use that is offensive to that person. You know? Like, when you're mad at somebody, you choose the words that will make them mad. In my video I just did to announce this live stream, I call everybody a little bitch, and then I say I'm going to destroy your cunt. Your tiny cunt will be railed. And I even felt bad after I posted the video, because I was like, did I just threaten sexual violence on my audience? Like, are people going to have a problem with this? But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, that'll get them talking. Like, that'll get them calling into the show, you know? So like...
Right, like, and my response to that is like you felt bad about it afterwards, so like, is that kind of like remorse a little bit?
I mean, I feel bad if I feel as though I have, like, if I know I've hurt somebody, I feel bad. You know, like, if I know I've hurt somebody, does that mean I regret what I've done? Not necessarily. You know, it might be that I feel bad that they feel bad, but I don't blame myself. You know, like, I just feel bad because I don't want to hurt anybody. But, like, I'm not going to redact what I've said if I feel that I was wrong and say, or not wrong and say it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, I guess that's just how I feel about it. And I should probably say it less. And I know there's a lot of people who want the word to kind of go out of existence, you know, like, I think that the fact that there are so many people who feel that there is a strong distinction between the ER and A versions of the word will suggest that, yeah, if you say the ER version, everyone knows you're being offensive, you know, but
yeah.
But being offensive isn't quite the same thing as being racist, you know, you have to be...
No, I mean, like, yeah, there's two different distinctions of being offensive and racist. Like, racist, like, to me, is like, you're actively going out your way to hurt someone from a different race. To me, that's how I perceive it. You know, just calling someone a faggot, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's hurtful. Yeah.
I think if you know that, like, if you're talking, if I was talking to you right now and I called you the N-word, knowing that it was gonna hurt your feelings, that would be extremely racist, and I would be uncomfortable if I was someone who had to listen to that, you know. But
right, yeah.
So I think we agree pretty much. So
we basically agree. Yeah.
Let's bring in the next.
Wait. Can I?
Oh yeah, you can.
Hey, I really like your channel, and I really like the DIGIBRO Actor Dark and your main channel. I wish you just do more analytical videos. I think
really a lot of people wish I would just do more analytical videos.
I'm just shout out for everyone else.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not done making analysis, so you know.
All right, thanks.
Some of those people from before are back in here now. I think they may have just added exclamation points to their names.
Alright, real quick. Can you help me to, like, you are level 17 and I'm level 13
Yeah,
somehow,
I'll show you which items I used.
You were a level below me when we started that quest. So,
was I?
Yeah.
No, I was 13, you were 12.
Oh, I thought I was 13.
I was always above you.
Whatever. Either way, I am under-leveled for all the quests that we have to do.
It should be like a little pass to scroll.
I already clicked on the egg, but it didn't seem to do
No, it wasn't
anything.
an egg, it was a pass.
A pass?
Yeah.
Is it this? Great success?
No, that's a grinder.
Oh.
Maybe you didn't get them.
Casino
Scroll down.
pass?
Go up. Maybe you just didn't get them. I had a whole bunch for whatever reason.
What the fuck? And they were just in the regular...
Yeah, I had like 6 XP.
I had something called an EXP egg, and I like right-clicked on it, and then I don't know what happened to it. I've got a bunch of great success grind rate +3 though, so I think I'm gonna use one of those and just go to the, just go run around the level, freeform. You wanna do that?
Sounds good. Let me add somebody in here.
Oh, this is only like the level 1 forest, but it won't let me go to the next area, so, I don't know if I'll actually be able to successfully grind here, but we'll try out using a EXP thing. Did we bring in somebody else?
I'm doing it right now.
Alrighty.
It's Shy Samare.
Skizamia.
Hey.
Skizamia? What's going on?
Hey, Conrad, how are you this morning?
I am great. What you want to argue about?
Well, I want to address the elephant in the room that no one's brought up yet.
Okay.
So let me start by saying I'm not a DIGIBRO fan.
Good.
I would call myself a fan of your anime-related content.
Okay.
So I haven't bought into this whole cult of personality thing you've been trying to cultivate.
Alright.
I'm probably a bit older than the majority of your fans, so maybe that's why I'm 36.
Wow. Alright. And I'm guessing
so,
from New Zealand?
From Australia, but I live in Tokyo. I've been living
cool.
in Tokyo for 7 years.
Mad jealous. I hope to get there one day.
If you do, I'd be happy to show you around.
What's it like living in Tokyo? Is it as a what race are you? Are you white? Are you a
I'm
white
Australian. Guy? I'm white. I'm a white Australian.
All right. Like, is it
white as white can be? I'm an otaku king, and I never leave my room. So
is there any
if
like?
I could be a hikikomori, I would.
Because I remember hearing before that like being a foreigner in Japan can be difficult to actually live there, but. In Tokyo.
It can be difficult for extroverts.
Okay.
So if you're the kind of person that relies on social acceptance, it can be extremely difficult to live.
I'll be fucking perfect. There's nothing to worry about. All right, well,
if you're the kind of person who doesn't give a fuck about what people think, then you're fine.
Oh, beautiful. I don't give any fuck, so I'll be...
And the Japanese people will give you a free pass on doing whatever you want. They just say it's another crazy gaijin. They just let it go.
Yeah. All right, well, what do you want to argue about?
I wanted to expound a bit on what T-Born did in the last video about how you let your ego get in the way of your success.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he just came out and said what a lot of us are thinking.
Okay.
So first, I wanted to clarify with you. You said repeatedly that you want to make more money. You want to be popular. Would you say that's one of your primary goals at the moment?
I would say at this moment, it might be one of my primary goals because I do need money at the moment. So yeah, I would say I am in the process of attempting to become more popular and make more money. Yes.
So I think you have a bit of a misconception when it comes to Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So you seem to think that the best way to gain money is to milk your existing cult of personality DigiBro fans.
Well,
I don't think that's the best way.
I'm not necessarily trying to milk them. I would say that was how I originally had established the Patreon when I first made it monthly, was that, like, that's why the best stuff was expensive. Now I've made it so the best stuff is cheap, so I'm kind of trying to reverse that element of the curse, but I would say that my goal is to make more hardcore DigiBro fans. Not so much to just reach a broad general audience, but to try and expand the size of the cult, if you will. So I'd say that you probably still have an argument against me about that.
Well, to me, I think the best way to get Patreon money is to gain small amounts of casual fans rather than hardcore fans.
Yeah. Like
and to me, nothing brings in more fans to your content than the content that I personally enjoyed the most, which is the one you've moved on from and don't make anymore. Stuff like the Asterisk War sucks.
So
which,
just
despite being riddled with errors,
anime?
I consider it to be your magnum opus.
What is your favorite thing about
it? Ripping apart something that many people like, and being able to... Your analysis is on the level of someone like Rageaholic or Spoony One. So there's like a different tier of hate there. And being able to enjoy that hate with someone else is something that I deeply love. I'd much rather watch someone talk about something that they hate than talk about something that they love.
It's interesting you say that. I'm kind of sick of the caustic critic because I just feel like there's so many of them, and a lot of them are good. Like, when I made the Sword Art Online Your Anime Sucks, it's based on YMS. Like you've got him, you've got a lot of people. I think,
but that's movies, not anime. I want anime content.
Yeah, I understand.
Can you name another person in the anime sphere who does hate as well as you do?
Not as well as I do, but I can't name another person in the anime sphere who does anything as well as I do.
So I guess my argument is this: why the fuck don't you still produce content like this? Is it your ego?
It is because I have not felt that passion for anything since then. Like with Sword Art Online, when I made the first Sword Art Online video, the Analytical Diatribe, I didn't know that anyone didn't like the show. Like, I had been outside of the anime community for a couple years, and when I came back to anime, all I had was bronies, like, who were following me, who were like, some of them liked anime, most of them didn't care, but like, people kept constantly asking me for my opinion on Sword Art Online, which I had dropped at the time it had aired, like a couple years prior. So I finally went back and watched it because I was doing like a series on Cyberpunk anime, and I was just covering a bunch of stuff that had to do with, like, trapped into video game stories and stuff like that. I figured, why not? So I make this big video shitting on it, expecting nobody to like the video. Like, I thought everyone was gonna fucking hate it because I thought the show was super popular and beloved and that nobody would agree with me. And then it came out, and it was the first anime video I made that got any attention. So when SAO2 came out...
That can be the most successful stuff. Look at Spoony One and Final Fantasy. Everyone loved Final Fantasy. He ripped it apart and made himself a legend.
Because people didn't... it was unexpected that so many people didn't like Final Fantasy 8 and 10, and, like... Yeah, I would say I was approaching it from a very similar angle. But, like, with the Asterisk War, the excuse was I can break down all the problems with the entire light novel genre that I hate so fucking much. Light novels isn't a genre, but you know what I mean. Like, this genre drives me fucking up the wall. And there's a show like this all the time. There's 3 shows like this season. I'm just gonna pick the one that's the worst, and that's by A1 Pictures, so I can rant about them because I have a problem with them too. Like, okay, you know what? I'll tell you what my fear is. The only show that I want to do a Your Anime Sucks on is Shinsekai Yori. And everyone loves that show. And I'm fucking terrified that everyone's gonna hate me if I do it.
I haven't seen that yet. It's on my watch list. But if I was to pick a show, I would pick either In Another World with My Smartphone, because that's on a whole nother level of bad. That's on a level of bad that I don't think has ever existed before.
But is it, like, dissimilar enough from how the Asterisk War is bad? Because, like, like, what's great about watching YMS videos is that, for the most part, when something is exceptionally bad, when it's, like, unbelievably, unfathomably bad, it's usually bad in a really unique way. Like The Room or Neil Breen movies, you know, like, that are awesomely bad. It's like, it's the unique way that this director has fucked up that makes it so interesting. With The Asterisk War Sucks, there's nothing unique about it. It was just the most boring, trite, generic piece of shit in the world, and that's why I just kind of said, well, this will be my figurehead for all of them. So, to me, there's no point in talking about another boring, trite piece of shit show, because I'm just going to say the same exact thing, you know? And now, if you're telling me that show is, like, super unique in how bad it is, it might be interesting, but, like...
I would say it would be your new number one, for sure.
My new...
Without a doubt.
Like, my new biggest video, you mean, or...
No, your new number, you've got the 1 to 10 scale, and when something's that bad, it goes down to the 1 and everything else moves up, right?
Yeah.
It would be your new number one. It would force Asterisk War up to a 1.5.
I mean, I think there's a lot of shows that would do that, though. Like, the Asterisk War is only a 1 because it's the worst show I've ever finished. Like, there are other shows that I thought were worse than the Asterisk War that I've dropped in 5 minutes. Like, I could bring out a laundry list, but, like, I mean, granted, if I was taking the approach that, like, I'm gonna be the YMS of anime, I could probably talk about that one Stan Lee show from last year that just had, like, the worst animation and aesthetic ever. I don't remember what the hell it was called. The
Well, you're not the kind of guy to pigeonhole yourself into being your anime sucks guy.
Right.
But it's also been, what, 2 years since you produced something like that?
Yeah, I mean, again...
And that was your most popular content, and now is the time where you want to become more popular, right? Why not make something new?
It could work. I'll consider it, because, again, the last time I planned on it, like... Because people have been asking me for years, and I've always thought, like, obviously this is what people want, I should do one, but the only shows that I really hate that strongly, that, like, I feel the need to talk about, a lot of them are A1 Pictures shows, and I feel like, eventually, people are gonna fucking get sick of me talking about A1 Pictures. Shinsekai Yori, I'm afraid to dedicate myself to making a huge video shitting on it when so many people love it. But then again...
You're not the man, you're not the kind of man that backs away from being afraid of something, who doesn't not do something because he's afraid of something.
That's true. Well, you know what?
That's the pussy way out.
I'll accept this challenge. I'll make another video about shitty anime. How about that?
And if you do pussy out about Shinsekai Yori, Asterisk War Season 2 is waiting for you there at any time.
There's no reason. We all know the Asterisk War is the shittiest anime. There's no reason to go through a whole other season of it. Like,
dare I say I think Season 2 is better than Season 1?
I don't care. Like, the reason I want to talk about Shinsekai Yori is that, like, a lot of people consider it a 10 out of 10 beloved show, and, like, just... Oh, you know what? I remember why I haven't covered it yet. Because my plan was to read the manga first and try to compare them. Because the manga is like borderline porn and it looks really awesome. So I want to read that. And then I also had... The last time I was going to do a video of that style, I had a planned... This wouldn't have been about, like, shitting on a bad anime. But I was going to make a video about Made in Abyss and why TV anime, like, visually cannot live up to film. Just that, like people kept calling it, like, oh, Ghibli quality. And I'm like, no. What are you fucking talking about? Ghibli films aren't inconsistent. That's the whole fucking point. But, you know...
Well, speaking about Made in Abyss, you were doing that every week, and the, what was it, Eromanga Sensei every week was fulfilling my hate burner there for a while.
Yeah, and
right?
that the unfortunate reality there was that there wasn't a show the next season that I was like, that we were that passionate about. Like, the reason that the reason I did Eromanga was because Nate hates Ore-emo more than anything, and he's been planning to do, like, worst anime ever Ore-emo since the start of his fucking channel. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I'm fucking sick of waiting for it. But, like, you know, so that's why I wanted him on that show, because I knew he'd have, like, this bitter rage towards, you know, the author in general and everything. And the show turned out way worse than I thought it would be, but, you know,
another way of getting that hate, would be when you were doing Finish or Fail.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, woo, in another world with my smartphone, and it was 10 seconds. If that had been 5 minutes... I would have been tired.
I didn't make it 5 minutes into another world with my smartphone, so I don't know if I could have found 5 minutes.
Why not? I mean, are you the kind of person who doesn't get enjoyment from watching something that's bad?
No, I don't. I really don't. Like, I really...
You mentioned The Room, right? You like The Room?
Well, I haven't actually seen The Room yet. I know a lot about it, but like Garzy's Wing, for instance, is...
You're tearing me apart, DIGIBRO.
I'm gonna make him see it in theaters.
Yeah, it's actually coming here soon, so we might go see it at a theater showing. Hopefully, did you say that? Did you confirm whether?
No, he's not gonna be there, but
well, that's unfortunate.
He was doing like a tour.
Is doing some shows right now. The movie.
I'm a huge Room fan, but that's like the only movie I like. That's shit.
Well, I'm a huge Garzy's Wing fan, and Garzy's Wing is really fucking bad. But like to me, the unique way that it is bad makes it literally the funniest show ever. Like I unironically adore the show because like. Regardless of how well it captures its own intent, it is the most fun anime to watch. Like, watching the Asterisk War was suffering. Watching Sword Art Online was suffering. I hated watching it. Like, I distinctly remember...
I love to watch you suffer.
Yeah, I know. That's the fun of it. But, like,
that's part of it, right?
I very distinctly remember a moment when I was watching back the first arc of Season 2 to make that video about it, and I just started screaming for, like, minutes on end. Like, I just... out of existential like horror. I was just drunk and screaming. So no, I don't get any enjoyment out of that. And that's also part of the difficulty. I mean, obviously this is my job, so whether it's difficulty or not, I should do it. But like, it's not easy to get inspired to go watch a show that you know is going to be miserable. You know? Like, it's not easy for me to psych myself and be like, I'm going to go fucking make myself hate life for 8 hours so I can make a video about it. But I'll do it. I'll do another one.
Yeah,
because everyone wants it. It would be if I said I was never gonna do it again, I would probably lose subscribers on the spot.
Well, a lot of people would argue that it's selling out, and I think it's the opposite. I think that giving a large amount of your fans what they want is the opposite of selling out.
Yeah, I would say so too. Selling out is about, well, you know, if it is my real fans, and I think that they are. Like, I don't think it's unfair to say that you can be like a diehard fan of just one part of my content and sad that it's gone, and I feel that way about a lot of artists. So yeah, I totally get it. Like, there's a lot of people I follow who have changed their content, and I don't care about the new direction they've taken as much and wish they would do something more in line with their old shit. And I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want to be somebody who like, you know, I don't ever want to repeat myself, but that's not to say that I should just cut myself off from something that recognizably is something I can do well, and there's no reason I couldn't do it well again. It's just a matter of being inspired. I just need to be angry enough at a specific show. But I do have a list. I have a list of potential candidates.
Get yourself into Shinsekai Yori.
Yeah.
Get yourself into Another World with your smartphone.
I don't know about that. I don't think I'll cover that one. Try
yourself with Asterix War 2.
I'll try
You get to watch
Yori.
And I'll watch Kieran get stabbed.
I'm trying to think if there's another show that pisses me off like a whole lot. And also, part of it was that there was a period where I kind of had challenged my audience, like, hey, these shows that you all insist are great and I don't like, I want you to make an analysis video explaining to me why it's good, so that I can, like, you know, I can have something to rail against, sort of, like someone to bounce off of. Like, for instance, I said that about Your Lie in April, and then this guy, I think it was Craftsdwarf, I think he was the one who, like, was like, oh yeah, I'll make a video about why I love it, and then rewatched the show and hated it and made a video about how shitty it was, and that was fucking hilarious. But
well, this format here wouldn't be bad if you can find someone who's eloquent enough to be able to defend the show.
Yeah.
Have an argument with them.
I could,
like you did with Mother's Basement over what was it?
Over Erased.
The show with the shitty ending.
I could have, you know, like, honestly, I wish I had made Your Anime Sucks Erased instead of the video I did. Because the video I did was, like, the Great Erased debate was fine, but, like, the original video I did was very much me, like, oh, this show literally just ended and I have the most controversial opinion. Let me try to get my video out within, like, 2 hours of the last episode coming out so that I could piss off everybody. And, I did piss off everybody. Literally everybody. So, you know.
Not as much as you did over Mario Odyssey.
No, not as much. And Mario Odyssey also could have been a, like, a fully detailed analysis video, but I just didn't want to have to fucking buy a Switch. I figured that Matthew Matosis will probably absolve me one day. I believe.
If you come to Japan, you wouldn't even be able to buy a Switch. They're still sold out everywhere.
God damn.
And no drugs, so that's gonna be a problem.
Alright, the chat is saying next.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah, I've been monopolizing you for a long time. Alright, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you were good.
If you ever come to Japan, look me up. I'll buy you a beer.
I definitely will.
Thank you.
Peace out.
We're gonna get Nabibble Jr. because he's driving me crazy in the chat.
Alrighty.
Hello.
Yo, what up, dude?
What is going on? What you want to argue about?
Hey, all right. So I wanna say about is that like kind of like the thing that he said further established with the cult of personality type of thing. In one of your recent videos, you kept pushing that anime and marketing thing over and over again. Like I get that it was cool, but like at the same time, I feel like it's clearly manipulating, doing kind of like what Keemstar does, saying it over and over again, and people believe it. That's my argument.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the how they marketed ads?
Yeah.
That's just an ad for my upcoming show, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is manipulative about?
Well, you're doing that whole cult of personality thing. It's like you're further establishing that sort of concept of kind of saying it over and over again, and people believe it.
Are you saying that I just keep saying that I'm a cult of personality, and that's why people believe that? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it can be denied that I am every YouTuber is a cult of personality. Like, I think that's kind of endemic to the genre of what we do. Like, not to say that like every YouTuber relies entirely on their cult of personality, but I would say that most of them do. Like, it's, like if you think of like Casey Neistat, the reason that people watch him is that he is that person. So do you think I'm not a cult of personality, or like what do you think?
I'm saying that I don't think you have really that sort of spark, that personality, that sort of feeling that you get when you feel like you're super intimate with someone, like Nakey Jakey. That dude makes amazing like video game videos, and like he doesn't need to like plug himself like you do. That's my argument.
I don't necessarily. Okay, well, how big is that guy?
I mean, he's got about like 300K, and I think he gets about as much as you do on Patreon.
See, the reason I'm plugging myself so much now is that the series, how they marketed, the idea, the concept behind the show is that I talk about the way things are marketed, and then I mimic the marketing techniques. And the number one thing I've learned about marketing is that you really have to put an idea out there all the fucking time for people to catch on to it. I mean, that's the entire theory of how advertising works, is that you run ads for your shit as often as possible so it remains in people's consciousness. And it's something I've done a really poor job of over the years, where, like, for instance, I'll make a new channel, like DIGIBRO's Turntable, and I'll make a video saying, hey, I've got a new channel over here, DIGIBRO's Turntable, and 2,000 people click over, subscribe, and then no new subscribers ever come in, because I never mention it again.
That's a good point, yeah.
And I've been making this mistake forever because, like, the format of my videos, I am so strict about it. Like, I don't want extraneous fluff in my videos. I've always been like, there's no real intro, there's maybe a small paragraph of outro, maybe I'll mention something that new that came out. But, like, because I want to keep my shit tight, the format doesn't allow for me to, like, really promote anything other than my own videos. And this is a problem not only because I can't promote myself, but also all the other people I want to promote. Like, I am someone who's all about, the message I send in my videos is like, yeah, you should promote your favorite art, you should constantly be supporting it, but I'm not out there really doing that because, like, I haven't had the space to do it, within my videos. Like, so I'm trying to change my format so that I can do that, and that's why you have stuff like how they marketed the repetitious ads in Finish or Fail. Like, I structured Finish or Fail in a way that it could allow me to advertise how they marketed, because I figured Finish or Fail is already a successful series. Like, it's been successful on After Dark for that channel. Like, it averages like 40-50K views, which is really good for After Dark. And I figured, okay, how they marketed, the first episode's about Be the Beginning, a show that nobody I knew watched. So, like, how am I going to market that? How am I going to make people understand that it's not just a video about Be the Beginning, that it's a video they're going to be interested in because of the way that it's structured and edited, and that there's going to be a narrative behind this series. Like, I want people to understand that this is episode 1 of a show. And that's why I keep insisting it's a series with a narrative. It's a series with a narrative, so that people before even watching it will know, okay, I get it. How they market is a series with a narrative. And now, anyone in my audience who's heard me fucking say that over and over again will probably watch the show because they know it's not a series about Be the Beginning. It's a series with a narrative.
Well, that's a really good point.
You know? So that's kind of the theory behind it. And, you know, I can agree that I'm not a big fan of advertising. Like, I hate ads. I hate, like, to me, marketing is fascinating specifically because I'm bad at it. And, like, I want to learn about it. I want to understand it. And I think that it also is a huge problem for anime, that in the same way that for anime and YouTubers, nobody knows how to fucking market themselves. Like, anime is constantly trying to appeal to, like, this super niche market of people who and then, like, not even advertising itself at all, just, like, counting on you to be like, oh, well, anime fans are gonna watch anything that comes out because it's anime, and they follow the seasonal charts, and they're gonna, you know. Yeah. But, like, where's the money? Something really powerful that this anime blogger called Wild Arms Hero said way back in the day. He said, you know, if you want to make anime popular in the West, what you need to do is fucking dub Honey and Clover and put it on a major network. Like, give it a good dub with real actors and put it on daytime TV, because it's a show aimed, it's like a drama aimed at, like, young adults and older women and stuff. And, like, that's an audience who doesn't think anime has any ability to appeal to them. But, like, there's tons of anime, well, not tons, but there are anime made for that audience, and, like, you know, but no one's willing to take that risk. No one's willing to market that show because it's not a sure thing. Because we already know that if you make Naruto version 12, it will be a success in the US. So, you know, I want to look into the ways that anime is marketed and sort of say, here's how they could be making good shows if they just marketed it better. You know, or how this good show didn't get watched because it didn't market itself good enough. Or how, like, you know, someone like Endless Jess on YouTube. Like, I think he's amazing. His fans all, like, love him to death. I think there's way more people he could appeal to than the amount of people who watch him. So why doesn't he have a bigger audience? Never markets himself. Doesn't do the podcast rounds really. Doesn't, like, you know, like most people who are trying to become big, they just collab with everybody bigger than them, trying to, you know. And granted, he's done some of that, especially early in his career. But, like, I just think that because of the fact that, and I made the same mistake, I saw it not work immediately and gave up. And I think he did the same thing. Not even that it was immediately. He worked for 2 years. But after those 2 years, he was like, it's not fucking working, and I can't keep doing this. And I'm disillusioned with the career anyways. So in his case, it's different from me. But, like, I'm looking at it like, okay, I've been doing this for years, and not marketing myself hasn't worked. So now it's time to try the other method, you know?
Right, that doesn't make a lot of sense, actually. When you put
what do you
like
mean?
that. Well, you know, with what you were just explaining and all that, you know, you went pretty in depth.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying that I will be. I'm saying that the fact that I have not marketed myself up to this point has not worked in my favor. So now I want to try and do marketing of myself. You know, like, try to figure out how marketing works.
All right, the chat is getting angsty.
All right, well.
All right, just real quick, just want to say something else. I was that dude who made a video where I drank the shit ton of Hawaiian Punch. I'm gonna do another parody on you and stuff. You know, it was good talking to you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, we're gonna get Auto JK on here, so
alrighty.
You can sleep. Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
It's fucking 3:44 a.m. I live in Finland, and why the fuck? The time you are doing this live stream, it's only good for people living in the east coast of USA. Every other place in this fucking world is the worst time ever you can do the.
That's not true. What about the rest of the USA?
Stream.
I picked.
It's too early. People are.
What time do people usually?
Older people are doing work, and younger people are doing their hobbies.
What time do you think of day people most want to watch a live stream? Like, what would you say is the golden hour?
Like between 7 and 9 p.m.
That's when I do the show. It's 7 to 9 p.m.
Did
for
you
me.
know that it's every time, like all over the world? There's different times.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, I can't account for everybody. There's no way to do that. I mean, it sucks that it has.
That's why you.
Like where?
That's why you should do the Tuesday and Friday streams on other times.
Oh, that's actually an interesting idea. The only reason I'm doing it at 7 is because I have this whole gimmick where I'm releasing all my videos at 7. And the reason I chose 7 is that I thought that the time when people most want to discover an hour-and-a-half long DIGIBRO video is going to be right when they get home from school or when they get home from work. And so I figured that by releasing it at 7, for the West Coast that's 4 o'clock, for the East Coast it's 7 o'clock, you're either just home from school or you're eating dinner, and either way you're about to sit down for YouTube. You know, is the way I look at it. So, but
but it's fucking night at Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Well, I mean, if I make it a fucking day for you, it's gonna be like 8 in the morning for the U.S. So, like, I don't want to be up at 8 in the morning. Well, I guess for like what time? Finland's probably what you said it was 3 a.m. for you. So it's 8 for me. 8:45 p.m. So if I wanted to make it at 8 for you, that would mean I had to do it at like noon or something. Or my math is fucking terrible.
Yeah, if you would do it like 2 or 3 hours earlier, that would be enough.
What if you did it like really late on Friday nights, like a midnight Friday night?
Well then it would be like 6 a.m. for him. I don't think he wants to watch a live stream at 6 in the morning.
I mean, it's also a weekend too, like.
That would mean that they'd probably like. I mean, I would imagine that the reason that he could even show up right now is because it's a weekend and he's up at 3 a.m. He won't wake up at 6
We
a.m.
have to do like a lot of data mining and seeing like where all your viewers are coming from, and if like you have a lot of like European viewers, then maybe
there's a lot to learn. I don't know anything about streaming. I don't know anything about. I don't really look at my analytics enough to know exactly where my audience comes from.
Yeah.
Going by the accents
I mean, a
on
lot
the
of
show,
countries
I'd say
like
plenty
don't.
of Europeans. What'd you say?
I mean, a lot of countries wouldn't have good enough internet to even like bother with Twitch streaming.
That's
so.
also true. Yeah, I don't know. There's a.
Luckily, I live in Finland. We have here the best internet in the world.
Better than
and
South
it's
Korea?
all. Maybe they have better, but the internet cost here like 24 euros or $27 a month.
Damn, that is fucking beautiful. I'm definitely jealous. Yeah, I mean,
4G.
I have heard your complaint. I will consider it. I didn't even think about staggering the times of the 2 live streams because I was just worried about my 7 o'clock gimmick. But honestly, that doesn't even matter anymore because YouTube, YouTube allows you to add videos to a playlist before they come out, but then they won't actually show up in the fucking playlist when the video comes out unless you re-add them. So, like, my whole, there'll be a new video at 7 every day if you look at the fucking thing didn't even work. So, yeah, I'll reconsider the hours. I'll look into it. But if I come to the conclusion that this is still the best time of day to do it, then I'm going to keep it here. And it's really convenient for me to do it at 7, so, because, you know, it's just a good time of day for it. Do you have anything else you wanted to argue about, or is that it?
Actually, I wanted to argue about in your last Gego Estate video, you were talking about that I will believe you when you say that you can show who are the great artist and your expertise in that sort of field. But you would say that you did say that you would have that you could have a relationship advice. I don't believe that you can do relationship advice.
A relationship at what?
Advice.
Oh, advice. You don't think I can give people relationship advice, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Did I say I could do that in that video? I said I know how to make people happy.
You totally said that. What was the exact wording?
I mean, I do think I could give relationship advice. Why do you think I can't?
Because you were living the last couple of years before you live May in your room, and the only friends you met that was the PCP guys.
Yeah, but all of my friendships are very close and passionate, and I've had standing loyalties and friendships for years with these people. I mean, May and I have dated for a year, and we haven't even fought. So, you don't think I could give people relationship advice? Like, I think most of the people I know have
Actually,
worse
you have a good
relationships than me.
point.
What'd you say? Oh, I have a good point.
Actually, you did have a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of the reason I didn't have a relationship for so long is that I pursue exclusively very, like, deep and meaningful relationships. Like, I don't like having flippant relationships. This is why I've always had difficulty communicating with my fans extensively, because it's hard for me to keep track of people unless I'm, like, dedicated to that person. You know, like, I want the people who I surround myself with, like, if I'm going to be concerned about you at all, I'm going to be really concerned about you and, like, want to fix your problems. And it's hard for me to be friends with people who, you know, complain all the time about things that are wrong with them, but then don't listen to advice or don't try to fix it, because, like, I'm going to involve myself with you. So, like, yeah, I mean, not to say that that's automatically means I'm, like, the best at giving relationship advice. I just think that as a person who's in a relationship that's healthy, I feel some qualification to do so. And as somebody who generally considers my profession to be, like, that I can translate meaning between people. And I think most reasons that couples fight are based in misunderstanding or dishonesty. And if you can clear up those things through communication, you're going to have a better relationship. Or not a relationship, if it turns out you shouldn't be in one. And I think that's another biggest reason for all the miscommunication and deceit, is that people aren't in relationships for the right reasons. I think there's a lot of people who don't want to confront the problems in their relationship because they want it to go on, or otherwise are afraid to do anything like that. And just generally, most of the problems that people have come from just not being honest with each other or with themselves. And I think that's something I excel at, and that's why I feel like I can give people relationship advice. Is that satisfying for you?
Yes, totally.
Cool.
Kick me off and take someone else.
Alrighty, let's bring in the next one. It is currently 8:53, so we're probably going to do like one or two more people because I'm getting tired. And I keep saying I'm going to play this game between the streams to sort all my shit out, because, like, fucking my inventory has been full for, I think, the last two streams, and I'm under-leveled as shit because I don't know what I'm doing. So, like, I've wanted to play this off screen because I want to get into an MMO with
You've
May,
literally been working on videos.
Yeah,
like,
I've been really busy.
Constantly.
And the day we took off with your dad to, like, the other day we had a one-day weekend. May's dad showed up and we fucking explored Boston all day. It was pretty sick. All right, who's coming in next?
Well, I really wanted Vita to come on, but he
left.
died. So
He couldn't hold out.
let's get the unknown of Taku. He's a drama.
Oh yeah, he was supposed to be on the last one. So yeah.
Yo.
Unknown of Taku, you there? Hey.
Yes, I am.
What happened last time?
I didn't get unmuted. I was waiting for the unmute, and I didn't get unmuted.
Did we fuck up?
I don't know. I've been having
person
problems
above
with
me
people
get
being
unmuted
disappeared.
and then remuted.
We unmuted the wrong guy.
Yep.
Well,
That
sorry
makes
about
sense.
that. But you're
My
here now. What do you want to argue about?
I have like 3
Well,
monitors
first,
open.
I would like to say thank you for about 500 subscribers.
Oh,
completely sent them my way.
What did I do?
That was from the DIGIBRO versus For Neverworld drama, and mine was the most viewed video that called out For Neverworld for being an idiot.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah, you deserve all those views then.
Yeah, it got about 20,000 views.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. All right, so what do you want to argue with me about?
Aggretsuko, and why it's a really terrible anime, even though everyone's hyping it as like the best thing ever right now.
I like Aggretsuko, but I'm interested to hear your reasoning, because I might not. I might think you're okay to say so, but it depends on what your position is. So what do you not like about it?
Well, let's get the first thing out of the way. The animation. Not even the fact that it's a cartoon or anything, but more on on the how they reuse animation in every single episode. 50% of the whole show is reused animation, and it just completely turns me off on just how it looks. Do you agree with that or no?
I mean, I can see where you're coming from if you're someone who doesn't like the Flash repetitive Flash cartoon look. I mean, I watched fucking My Little Pony for years, so you know I can handle some level of repetitive imagery. But I think
can handle some
complaint.
level. Like I liked Fist of the North Star, but when half the episode is reused animation just on a different background, that is when it annoys the shit out of me.
I mean, that's what Flash cartoons like in the modern day are, you know, like that's why they make them in Flash, is so they could just reuse all this shit, and it probably costs like, you know, $10 to animate a minute of that show. Like, and I think with Aggretsuko, I think the reason the visuals didn't bother me is I like the use of like all the post-processing they do on the show, like the sort of visual filters look nice to me. I like the certain inventive scenes where they do something with the visuals, like the rap battle. I thought looked really cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say the show has amazing visuals, so that's a valid complaint. What else bothers you about it?
I don't like any of the characters really. You know how like the freaking Instagram model is supposed to be a deep character because she's what quote unquote warming up to the boss to make him nice to everyone, but that makes no sense because she's trying to claim she's doing it for everyone. But
I don't even remember her saying that. I don't remember that.
I remember that.
I mean, I would say that we're not meant to believe that. I don't think that Aggretsuko herself believes that. Like, I think she thinks she's a fake ass bitch for the most part.
Yeah, I was saying it makes no sense for her to. Like, she legitimately opened up one scene to tell her why she does it. And it makes no sense because...
I think she was just full of shit, though. Like, I think she thinks that like that, but that she's not correct. Like, she thinks that she is doing that, or at least she excuses her behavior that way, but that doesn't mean that she is right to think that, you know, to think... I mean...
I was saying it's legitimately wrong just because she pawns all her work off everyone else by doing that.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, she's a bitch. I don't think we're supposed to like her. I don't think you're meant to watch that scene and come away agreeing with the way she does things.
Okay. I don't like any of the characters. I can go on we can talk
like
about
boss?
the secretary.
You don't like
the boss is the only character I like actually. I'll take that back. The boss is the only character.
Okay, I like
But I'll say whatchamacallit.
Not as a person
I hate the
per
secretary.
se.
Like the one I hate the most
I love
is the
secretary.
Which one was the secretary?
The bird.
It's the bird, the secretary bird.
She's a boss.
I don't even remember Secretary Bird.
No, the bird is literally.
Did you not watch the show?
Was she a major character?
No, she was just one of the gorilla and the bird.
Oh, those two. Is that who you're talking about? I didn't think they were secretaries.
Yeah, she was the secretary.
Yeah, that's right. She is a secretary to
she was
she's
a
secretary like
control
the
freak.
president.
Nah, I mean the species of her bird is literally called secretary.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I didn't know that. Why don't you like her? I love those two, the bird and the gorilla girl, because they to me are the spitting image of. I love those two because I've met women just like them, who are like very. Like you know, I mean they're kind of just traditional feminists, I would say. Like they're kind of the archetype of like old school feminism of these people who are very much about like projecting this image of being powerful women as a way to inspire other women to pursue that identity, you know. And I love the way that they have such different personalities, that like both of them are on message at all times, except that the gorilla is clearly like not as like self-aware or intelligent as the other one is.
I don't mind the gorilla at all.
Okay, well what's your problem with the secretary specifically?
It's because of like she's a complete like let me think. It's when she goes and destroys the model.
That was great.
I love that scene. I felt like that was so deserved.
And then says he has to be the one paying for it, even though she destroyed it and he could have refunded it.
But he built the model on the company's dollar.
Wait, how could he have refunded it?
You can still kind of refund it or something like that. Even if he doesn't refund it, she still destroyed his property.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. I think that I think that was intended as a joke, and I understand that the logic isn't the best. So I'll give you that. You could say you can definitely criticize that scene for its logic not being the best, but I think it was just meant to be like a quick visual to make you understand that she was a bad bitch, you know.
And then after, when she was reporting the boss to HR, she literally, criticized him for asking for evidence on their best employee for sexual harassment. She was reporting the boss for sexual harassment, and all he literally asked was, well, is there any evidence of it? And then she said she will take care of the bill, and her quote-unquote way of taking care of it is ripping it up. And now here's the thing about CEOs. If CEOs inside a company, you're like, the company knows what your bills and whatnot. If you're technically late on bills, you can get fired for stuff like that, because people can vote you out because they show that you're not smart with the money. And she's trying to actually get him fired just for asking for evidence to get their best employee in trouble.
Okay, she's not asking him for, like, she's not trying to get him fired because of that. She's trying to get him fired because of the sexual harassment, right?
No,
like,
she's trying to get the CEO fired when he asked for evidence.
I think that's because she wants his position. I think that, I mean, the CEO is I think the idea the show is trying to present is that the CEO doesn't know how to run his company because he's got all these old-fashioned ideas, and it's just kind of a, you know, not really someone who understands how to do right by the company necessarily, and so she's trying to supplant him. And maybe her tactics are underhanded. I don't really think anyone in Aggretsuko is meant to be like an out-and-out good person all the way through. That, like, you're meant to just,
I don't even think it's
utterly
supposed
back
to be
everything
all the way through. But I think, like, almost every character is unlikable, and majority of the characters are very one-dimensional, and they get like one line to show you, oh, they're not the way we think. And I don't think that's like a proper way to like show, oh, they have more to them, because they had one scene where they're not like that.
I mean, I think it's, I don't want to say I think it's impressive, but like it is by and large like a situational comedy show. Like the main purpose of it is to craft these emotional scenarios for Aggretsuko to react to. So do I think that the characterization or logic behind the show is the best? No. But I think it's serviceable to the end of watch Aggretsuko deal with, you know, the foibles of being an office lady in modern society that don't get talked enough about in anime, you know? Or so, like, I think the fact that the show presents such a unique perspective, specifically that it's about, like, a millennial businesswoman, you know? Like,
I think it's more on, like, people praising it for themes rather than the actual show itself.
I agree. But I think that's true of any show that anyone is going to describe as progressive is gonna have that issue, you know. SAO progressive. Yeah, like when it comes down to it, like there are lots of shows that I like that I don't necessarily want to be grouped in with the other people who like it, because, like, not to say that I think they like it for wrong reasons, but that I think they like it for boring reasons. And I don't think that's necessarily true with Aggretsuko. I do think that it's a very unique perspective, because, like, the last time I can remember having an anime about an office lady was fucking Hataraki Man.
New game.
And well, okay, I don't know if I'd describe them as like office ladies so much as like artists, you know? Like, that game, and also New Game is completely fucking unrealistic and not in any way representative of the fucking workplace of making video games. Like, the guy who
What's even funnier?
Yeah.
It was funny because I remembered an article that came out that was saying why New Game was actually realistic.
Yeah. Well, the funny... Okay, I love that article, and that was Canepa. That was Canepa interviewing a guy, because when we did you ever listen to the Weebcast that covered that episode? Did you ever listen to that podcast? All right, well...
Which one specifically?
The one that had New Game in it.
Like, I don't think I did.
Okay,
I've
so
listened to almost all your videos.
Me and Jeff got into a big autistic shit fit over that show, because Jeff hated... By Jeff I mean Mother's Basement.
Oh, that's probably why I didn't watch it. I think he's the worst anime YouTuber on this website.
I'm not gonna say anything, but he really hated New Game because he saw it as like he had all this pretentious shit he was saying about how he'd worked in video game development and the show is completely unrealistic and all this shit because he was really offended that like a game company would hire an 18-year-old who doesn't know programming or whatever, because he thought that was unrealistic. And then Canepa like found a guy who like works in the game industry in Japan and could speak on this, and that guy was like, oh, that's not unrealistic at all. The only unrealistic thing about the show is that it's an all-female staff, and that would never fucking happen on a video game. So like, yeah, I don't really see that show as like, even though it does deal with some of the issues that people face in the workplace, it's not very women specific. You know, like, even though all the characters are women, because there are no male characters and there is no, like, you know, these issues that, you know, I hate to be someone who throws out the word patriarchy willy-nilly, but, like, that's obviously what the pig guy represents in the show, is this...
he represents the red pill mentality.
That too. And I think... I like that character a lot because I think he's surprisingly well-balanced. Like, that the show is...
He's the only one I feel is well-balanced.
Yeah, well, he's like the main reason I like the show, is that, like, I think it's really fascinating that they actually gave him, you know, like, they acknowledged why people like this are successful and why they haven't been kicked out yet, because even... you know, us young millennials are so sort of wrapped up in our own problems, our own issues, that we haven't had time to develop those kind of skills. Like, people like Aggretsuko who, you know, are just struggling with this office job they don't even like because that's just, like, what there is in the job market, you know, aren't really suited to this job, per se. But, like, this guy is. And even though he's a monster, you know, in terms of, like, how he treats people, he can do this job really well. I think that's super interesting. But, yeah, I mean, I'll agree he's the only super nuanced character in the show. I don't know. I think you're right to dislike it for the reasons you do. I think there's lots of reasons to... I think there's lots that you can hold against the show. I don't hold that much of it against it, because...
Like, I'm not saying the themes are bad. The themes are fucking amazing. It's just that I don't think it's a good execution, and everyone's praising it on just the themes alone. Because I've seen, because I follow almost every AniTuber, and I've seen like 20 videos on Aggretsuko, and they're all just praising, oh, this is about the themes. And I was like, yeah, no one can say why it's good about the show itself. And I think the show itself is terrible.
I don't think it's terrible, but I understand your perspective here, and I really am bothered by that too. I hate when, like, I mean, it's a classic, I don't want to fucking go on a whole SJWs thing, but, like, that is a thing that happens constantly on places like Tumblr, is, like, a show has a bisexual character and therefore it's a fucking masterpiece, and it's like, yeah, but the show is bad. Like, I'm okay with, in fact, I want great shows about these themes and these characters, and, like, I don't think Aggretsuko's a bad show. I think a lot of it is funny. I think a lot of it works. And the fact that it's so fucking short, like, I mean, I watched it in one sitting. I just blazed through it in a couple hours. So, like,
me too.
You know, it's not offensive to me because I didn't have to waste time on it. And I felt like I got my enjoyment out of it. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. There's a reason I haven't made a video about it. You know, I'm like, although I did have an idea for one. Me and May were actually going to do a collab video about it.
I have 2 ideas for one.
But ours were just
because
gonna be
I've
about
almost
the theme,
finished
so.
my no, well, kinda. Mine's going to be, it's like a parody of everyone, just slightly change their personality a bit and interpret it in a strange way to completely flip it on his head.
So almost like an abridged series kind of thing.
Yeah, but it'll be an analysis flipping it on his head.
Alright, well, I'll check it out when it comes out. Yeah, I don't disagree with your reasonings for not liking the show. I think that's fine. I think that's also gonna wrap up this fucking episode because I've gotten to the point where I'm just jumping around the fucking home base.
Yeah, I did like a story.
I have 2 more arguments.
Oh, you want to argue about? We'll do one. What fucking time is it? It is 9:09. All right, I'll give you one more argument. You can call in on other shows, by the way. We have returning guests on this show.
Yeah, I have tried. I've been on the waiting list for every single one.
Okay, I'll give you 2 because of the fact that we fucked up last time.
So we could either do the why I think it was unreasonable that you blocked me on Twitter.
All right, well, what did I block you for?
I was talking to YKick and trying to convince him to take out, you know, that one part inside the video. But I was also saying at the same time, I don't think your definition of doxing was accurate.
Did you phrase it just like that? Because that sounds innocent enough, but how did you actually say it?
No, because I was saying I don't think what you're saying is actually doxing, and I was talking, and I was trying to say why I don't think it is by that definition, and then you linked the definition, and I was trying to say that's not the correct definition because the Merriam-Webster definition is the closer definition, but then you were saying how I don't understand words, and you're kind of in like an angry like state at the moment, and then you block me.
I don't know what offended me enough to block you. I'll unblock you. I don't care. You seem like a rational fucking human. I honestly, when it comes to Twitter, because I don't really like look at the people's names on Twitter, I just look at what people are saying. So if someone pisses me off, and it's also possible that this was.
It happened right when you figured out the Y kick thing.
Yeah, I was probably just super pissed
off. It was kind of an emotional moment because I felt like my privacy was completely invaded, and I was
Which is why I was talking to Y kick to get him to take that part out.
Yeah, I probably didn't even know you were doing that, honestly. I probably did not realize that was the context of the situation.
I'm friends with all the freaking people like Mr. Meatman, What the What, Y-Kick. We're literally all in one Discord.
Oh yeah, you're with those guys? Well, that's probably why I blocked you then, if you're friends with all the people
I'm friends with them, but
blocked.
I never... No, I'm friends with them, but I've never like associated myself with them in the public eye with you.
I see. Well, yeah, I'll unblock you, whatever. I don't give a shit. But, yeah, I would say that the reason I accuse you of not understanding how words work is that I am very much a believe in descriptive linguism. You know, that like a word means what people think it means. If enough people think it means that. So like if I Google the word and I get a definition that is the thing I'm saying the word means, then it's like, how can you say the word doesn't mean that? Clearly people think it means that, you know? Like, I think prescriptive linguism, is that a word? Is dangerous, where you try to say like, oh, this is what the word means and it can't be changed. It's like it's gonna change, and most words.
It's not that it can't be changed, but you were saying he should be liable for it, and because you said liable, I was bringing up the actual legal definition.
Oh, I see. Well, I didn't realize that the word liable was a legal word, but now that you mention it, I get what you mean.
No intentions to take any legal action. I felt really uncomfortable and wasn't expecting that, and it was like the first time I ever dealt with that, and it was handled poorly on my part. I said some fucked up things, but I still stand to it today. Like, that's pretty fucked that he did that.
Yeah, I think
we were in chat, and the only reason he didn't take it down was he saw that you blocked me.
Oh, well.
He said if you would have just contacted him, he would have taken it down.
Oh, I don't... See, the thing about that is that puts the power on his side. If I have to contact him, then that means that, like, I'm asking permission for him to have unharassed me. You know, like, if I see myself as, okay, like, you know, I'm the one who's been, or not even me, but,
I mean,
but
I think I talked to him. I said something to him. I don't know if I told him to take it down. I just think I aired what was wrong, in my opinions. Like,
which is why I was convincing him to actually take it down, but he was about to actually do it, and then all of a sudden I got blocked.
I apologize if the reason for this disagreement was that I did not use the word liable correctly, because, like, I don't... my understanding of a lot of words, this is probably why I'm so into descriptive lingo, is that I don't tend to know dictionary definitions of a lot of words. I just hear them and like through context clues start using them, and I use a lot of fucking incorrect words. If you watch my old videos, you will slowly watch me like correcting my usage of a bunch of words or idioms that I fuck up constantly. Like I always say on the drop of a dime, which is not an idiom.
What?
Because there's turning on a dime, and there's at the drop of a pin.
At the drop of a hat.
Yeah, at the drop of a hat, and also a pin dropping. But like all those things, somehow in my brain, it's a drop of a dime, and I say it all the fucking time, and I don't know why, but these things happen, and yeah, in spite of being someone who's constantly praised for my eloquence, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about a lot of the time.
The last thing I wanted to say is about this whole thing. I think you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
If you want to actually get your grievances out with the people that really dislike you, I think you need to come to the anti-Digi Discord.
See, the thing about doing that is
There's
that
an
I don't...
anti-Digi Discord.
Yeah, wait, yeah, is that
Send
a
me
thing?
the link, I want in.
Is it actually called that, or is it...
It's not really called that, but it just has like 100 or so people that
Why the fuck? Why aren't they coming onto the stream? Like, why do I have to go to them? Just come here. To give them the link.
You know the real what the what was actually on the stream once? He just wasn't using his real name.
Oh, that's...
We all laughed so hard at that.
I mean, if he wants to come on, I expected... Okay, here's how I expected these live streams to go. I thought I was going to launch the first episode, and it was exclusively going to be trolls. I thought every caller was going to be someone who hated me and had a huge problem with me. I thought the chat was all going to be people who hated me and had a huge problem with me. That was why I established the rule that the chat has to decide when a person goes, because I thought the chat would be against me. Like, I thought it would be people who want to see me fight Mr. Meatman or something, you know? But, first of all, the trolls who showed up in the first episode didn't put up any fucking argument at all. And just didn't come prepared. So first of all, tell those guys to fucking actually come up with something. I'm like, well, if you guys hate me, how do you not have something to argue about? God damn it. But like, to me, going in there, sorting things out like man to man, I could take or leave these people as human beings. But I'd love to have them on my on my show, you know.
No, I'm saying like this. What you could do is like join it and tell everyone when a live stream's happening, and do one live stream where it just has everyone air out their grievances. Like you're literally in that chat instead, just for one live stream.
Well, now that I know that Discord exists, I certainly would like for them to be made aware of this show. I mean, I told people on my Discord yesterday, because everyone was like, you need to get your haters in there, and I was like, by all means, link these live streams to everybody who hates. Like, I can't believe Snob hasn't come on yet. Like, what the fuck? Like, how is he not
I just
taking
recently
advantage
started
of
contacting him because I just woke up from a podcast with Snob. And we were like, holy shit, Snob, you need to get in here. And
I just thought he would have jumped on it immediately, because it's like because he cares about promoting himself, and it's obviously a great way to self-promote to come on the show. So.
I want to see him get to 10K again and beat Misty Connexia in a top 10 list again.
We all know the only reason he placed is because he's the only fucking person who campaigned at all. But yeah.
You gotta admit, it was the funniest thing ever, though.
It was pretty fucking funny. Even I thought that was fucking hilarious. I'm honestly, like, I just thought it said so much about Watch Mojo that, like, that none of these people cared enough to promote themselves except for that anime snob, and that was enough to get him on the fucking top 10 list. He was even, like, they put him farther back than he was voted. Like, he was voted
because
higher.
they put him twice.
Yeah.
No, they put him twice. It did not add his votes together. It actually split his votes.
Didn't he? But I think they also, because, like, for instance, they placed certain people, like, they said, oh, like, we take into account both the quality of the content and how many votes they got. So, like Misty Cronexia was so far back because they were like, well, it's clear that a lot of people think he's shit. But with Snob,
he got so many
I think they were just confused. But, like, I think he was actually, like, would have been ranked, like, number 7 or something, but they put him at, like, number 9 because, like, it was obvious that he had just campaigned and that's why he won, you know?
You know, I gotta say, doing a podcast with Snob, it easily became my most viewed podcast just because he's the only one that campaigned for people to watch the podcast. And within the first day, it got over 700 views.
The podcast I did with Snob is a part of what inspired this, because that was what began my winning streak of being the undefeated arguer. Not that I'm... Well, okay, undefeated in the sense that I have resolved every argument I've been in. Not necessarily that I've come out the victor and that my opinion has won, but that we've managed to come to understandings.
Next time I'll try to convince Snob to come on as well.
Definitely do. People,
like,
people
what
are,
days
people
and
want it.
time? because I only see it like, oh look, you're streaming. That's when I see it. I don't know the exact days or time.
Well, it's Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. So I announced that in the latest video that I announced the stream in. But I'm currently, through the rest of the month, it's Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. EST because I have to stream like 8 times in 30 days to become an affiliate or whatever. So I'm trying to. After that, I don't know what the schedule will be. It'll probably just be once a week instead of twice a week because it's a lot. It's a lot to do 4 hours of this a week. All right, man. That's it
Let's
for this
see if I can get Snob on then.
All right. I think Zen Huxtable said he had like a PSA. If you want.
Go ahead and bring Zen in.
All
I didn't know
right.
he was in there. I love Zen Huxtable, so I'll definitely allow him.
Did he leave?
Oh, maybe he thought it was over. So.
Maybe.
Well, Zen, you'll have to come to your PSA next time, unless you're gonna come back in right now. Are you around? You watching the stream? Best guy ever's here, watching the stream. Zen is still here. Zen, come on, come into the.
We wait and.
What do you mean? Is it working? I don't even. Are you in the list?
I don't see him.
We haven't even muted Anonotaki yet. I muted him.
Oh, I see him. He put exclamation points in there.
Oh, that's
all
right.
right. Here you go.
All right.
Hi. Can you?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Zen. What's going on?
Fantastic.
Finally,
I'm
this is the first time we've
right
talked,
now.
and I am excited.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Wild shit, right? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Finally. And hi, man. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Dude. Total tangent, but my friend here just sold me some dud LSD and it's not fucking working. Anyway, it's actually a really cool thing that Best Guy Ever is here, because this is actually a PSA for him too.
Okay.
And Unknown Otaku is actually the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Unknown Otaku, Subsonic Sparkle, Best Guy Ever. Please change your profile pictures. Jesus Christ, they're so fucking ugly. I hate them so much.
Bravo.
Please change them.
Well, he already told
I
you that's
will,
why he made his icon.
I know. He told me that. He told me that. Please, I will do it for you. Please, just change them for the love of God.
Just draw.
But I'll do a better one for you.
Yeah, just draw Nate. I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he'll just use a fan art. Because
I don't know. It's like, is this brand now? I know. I understand. But like, Subsonic Sparkle and Unknown Otaku, you don't have an
What
excuse.
What is Subsonic
please.
Sparkle's avatar? Are you talking about on YouTube or on Twitter?
Yeah. On both, isn't it?
Does Subsonic Sparkle still have the stupid Metal Sonic thing?
Yeah, it's the stupid Metal Sonic.
It's because
thing.
he's
Is that a meme
fucking
too?
obsessed with Sonic CD. He's just like,
is that a meme?
No, it's not a meme. He's just fucking obsessed with Sonic CD. Like,
oh, for the love of God!
He used to spend like years, like before I started talking to him, like every comment he left on DigiBros was like, "You guys need to play Sonic CD. It's the greatest game of all time." Like, and I was just
That's
like,
the wildest shit.
And then I looked it up. I looked up a gameplay footage on YouTube, and the game looked fucking terrible. So I was like,
Sonic CD's not that bad.
Oh no.
Well,
yeah, I'm sure it's not that bad.
I didn't actually play it.
No, it doesn't matter how good the game is. You should never have that as your profile picture. It's garbage.
I do think he could pick a cooler looking picture of Metal Sonic.
Oh yeah, no. There's a litany of those.
But yeah, he's had that image as his avatar for fucking like 5 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's time for
honestly.
A change.
Yeah, this is my hill to die on though. So this is my mission until they change it. So,
well, Nate says, to BH, I'm not married to the thing. All I'd want is something I like as much, but no promises if someone draws me some shit.
Yeah, sure.
So
wild
shit. If you can find him an image that he cannot resist as his avatar, think about Nate. We're talking. His previous avatar was Venomoth. Big into Hillary Clinton as a thing. So you just gotta hit him right in his meme pancreas, basically. You gotta you gotta pull a Houdini on him and fist his meme pancreas.
This is me. Yeah, I'm about that. Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the end of your PSA?
That's the end of my PSA. Thank you for giving me a platform. And,
no problem.
Yeah, I'm glad I could be the last person
right?
on.
You live in Boston.
I do. Yeah, no. Econ was talking to me. He said that I could come around.
I mean, if you're gonna hang out with Econ tomorrow, then we're gonna hang out with Econ tomorrow. So maybe we'll meet tomorrow.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know how long Econ's in town for, so I
yeah, exactly. He said he's
anyone
coming
he wants to hang
right?
out with is gonna have to be at the same time.
He said he's coming around with Ben.
I can't wait to watch you. The fact that you're gonna be there will mean I won't have to talk to Econ the entire time. Like, not saying I will never have to talk to him, just that I won't have to be the only one who talks to him.
No, I totally understand
I think
that.
I'll be like all over Econ.
Yeah,
no, I don't hate talking to Econ.
He's fun to talk to. It just is exhausting.
Yeah,
and he won't stop. Like he'll.
I already told. No, I get it. I totally get it. The thing that I told Econ, I said, the thing that I'm most excited about seeing you in person is the height difference.
Oh, how
because
tall
I'm 6'3".
I did not know you were tall. You don't look that tall in your videos.
I know, because I'm always crouching and shit. Yeah,
I'm a small boy.
Yeah,
5'8".
I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
All right, well.
Till then.
Yeah, till then. Zen is gone, and this is the end of the live stream because I'm fucking exhausted. All right, everybody. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you in the next one.